Are you ready? Can Crushers. It don't really get no better than this the podcast that you're looking for if you're really heavy into wrestling. Hosted by the Mark. Energy that's so amazing. Gotta keep it entertaining. Rep the Can Crusher Nation. Yeah, you know what's going down in the ring. Lights out when you hit a ding ding. Knock 'em out like boom bada bing. Hold it down, you can crown me the king. Gotta shout out to the Miz and Duke the Dumpster. We choke slamming everybody. Power driving, hit 'em with a face buster. Yeah, this the show you need and it ain't no need for waiting. Mark, hold it down for the Can Crusher Nation. All about wrestling and keep it entertaining. Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Time to break 'em, let's go. Yeah, Can Crushers. Yeah, Can Crushers. Let's go.
This is the one and only Trophy Boy, Tyler Klein, the fashion designer to all of the wrestling royalty in the wrestling world. Half of the runway with Calvin Couture. Make sure you tune in to the Can Crushers podcast. 1, to listen to me. 2, go back, listen to Calvin. And 3, I guess, listen to the host. I mean, we're going to see. He's got a lot of work to do with the runway, so we'll see. But tune in. You won't regret it.
Winded after that.
Winded? You're the Broadway star now. Your lungs should be fully expanded and worked out and ready to go.
They should be, but guess what? They ain't. Tired. Welcome to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. That's Sir Michael Jenks. I'm Mark the Mark. We're getting ready to do another impromptu, random, whatever show because so much is still going on in my life. But we'll get to it when we get to it. I digress. Sir, I haven't seen you since I've been in Erie. How the hell you been?
I've been good. Busy AF, but, that's par for the course this time of year and trying to move people in to a house. So fun times all around. Nothing too crazy going on, I want to say. It's been a whirlwind. Let's put it that way. How about you? How are you?
Whoa. We're not putting the brakes on yours. Since I've seen you, how many trips have you made for beds, towels, this, that, or the other coming into your house?
3 so far.
Oh, that's not as bad. I thought you were going to say a lot more.
Well, I got things that are going on during the week, so I can't go down during the week. Last weekend we kind of tripped up some things. So actually, technically, one of those trips I did not make. Kimberly did. She brought some stuff up when she had an appointment up here in Erie. And then Saturday and Sunday, I tracked it both ways, just packing up the truck, getting things loaded up and brought up here, and kind of the office is slowly losing space right now.
Yeah.
But we've also determined that one of the desks in here is going to go because she said she doesn't need it, so we're going to move it downstairs and see what we can do with it down there or something. But so fun times. So a couple trips. Plan on making probably 1 or 2 more this upcoming weekend, and then
the weekend that we're in now is what you're talking about.
The weekend that we're in now, which is upcoming for since we record during the week usually, like you guys know. But actually, the Christmas weekend, I have off starting next Wednesday, or so a week from what was Wednesday for you guys.
You're on the 20th is when you're going to do this.
The 20th, I am done with work till January 2nd when I have to report full time in office. So I'm mentally off.
Yes, and a boo.
Yes, and a boo.
You have that weekend off, the week and a half off. That's amazing.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's fun, but I'm going to be doing stuff here, there, everywhere, taking our sleigh to Grandma's house we go type thing. I know the 20th, I already know what I'm doing during the day. It's taking this office and redoing it, so magic. It's in the air already. Excuse me. So, yeah, it'll be good to be out of work. Boo that I have to get ready to be mentally in office for every day of the week, but I'm not going to complain too much about it. So
you're not going to be the Chiefs?
No, not going to be the Chiefs. I'm not going to do something wrong and then bitch about it for 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it ended up being. I've never I have, but the crying over being called offsides was just
by a mile too.
By a mile. It wasn't like he didn't
the
get
ball.
He was done. He was offsides. Like, there's no indisputable, there's no like, oh, I can't see it. I don't know what you're talking about. How dare you? No, he was offside.
Patrick Brady, all of a sudden.
That is why Mahomes is now just going to be whining about every little thing that doesn't go his way. And it's going to be sad because he wasn't like that. And now you win so many, you get entitled.
There's a black eye on him.
It is. It's not a good look for him.
No.
It's just not. I don't understand why he thought, I need to cry, I need to get upset. I get the emotions of the game get you. And I'm wondering if it was 2 weeks of frustration because they could not beat the defending. Well, they couldn't win last week against the Eagles. And this week it was,
the Bills.
The Bills are, they turn the ball over. They turn the ball over. If they don't turn the ball over, they're still the same Bills.
Yeah.
So they're dangerous. You can't overlook them at all.
And they've beat them every other time that they've played them.
Exactly.
This era.
Yeah. Exactly. So the frustration grew, and he became whiny about it. So I don't know, but shucks. Oh, shucks, indeed. So enough about my boring life because I don't really have much going on except celebrating a dog's birthday last weekend as well. How was your week?
Oh,
I almost forgot about it. Shout out to Sir Charlie. Charlie is 7 now. That's Kimberly's dog. She had a cake made for him with little tennis balls on it. And so we did a little birthday celebration. So.
Happy belated birthday, Charlie.
Yes.
Not my friend like Bailey is, but.
Your friend that is really dickish to you right. When you hang out here. So we'll get to that in a second.
Get to the smiles. All right. So after an Erie, we'll probably touch on Erie a little bit as well. This is a hodgepodge show. Hidgely-pidgely all over the place. Everybody's going to want to know how you talked about it, how the first couple nights, 3 nights of the show went. Amazing. Cast and crew, awesome. Crowds were into it. One night it's the greatest play in the world. The next night, I'm not telling you nights because in case anybody's listening, there were, okay, good to go, laughs and this, and then the other night, you had, but everybody enjoyed it. And I'll tell you, I still don't know how Abbott and Costello did that, who's on first, this on, and without messing it up as quick as they did it, because there's a part in the play that I am Jacob Marley stuck in a door, and Scrooge is stuck in a door, essentially, as well. And we do our best. We have not done it once the same way, probably since practice started, even reading out of a book, but definitely not during showtime. Yeah. We each have saved each other or whatever, but it got howls and it was funny. So, and let me say, it took a lot out of me. And I mean this truthfully. I've not done a stage play. Wrestling, people can call them plays as well. Different atmospheres, whatever. Have not done a stage play in 30 years since high school. And I'll tell you, after every night of it, I was pretty whooped because if you know me, I know. And if you're a new listener just stumbling upon this saying, wait, I thought this was a wrestling podcast and now they're talking about a play, we'll get there. But everybody else has been along for the ride for the years. You guys know me. It's all or nothing with me. So if I have to sweep the floor, I'm going to sweep the floor like a raging lunatic.
Yeah. I'm
just not going to half-ass anything. So it literally took a lot out of me. So I was like, oh man, cool. Sunday, R&R day, and we'll get to something that I bought, which you're going to be like, really? R&R day, I realized, oh shit, came up on because it was scheduled so far long ago. I had my movie shoot, for the next movie that I'm in on Sunday. And no idea what's being done in this movie. I know that I'm something in the movie, but don't know lines, don't know anything. Everything's off the seat of the pants. Put time into that. And then Sunday, the boy was leaving, so, we kind of had a little bit of a family night. Rolled right into work on Monday. Came home and died Monday. Literally, done.
Just, you had to fall apart at some point. It's a lot. It takes a lot out of you, I think. I mean, man, you're the star. You're a star of a movie, star of a play.
I'm humbling myself a little bit. Normally, I'd be like, yes.
But man, you're all over the place. So it makes sense that you finally just kind of collapsed and said, nah, fuck it, I'm done. Just done with it. Yeah.
3 more shows. We did one Thursday, we did one last night, and we have one tonight as you guys are listening. And then that's it. I'm already putting that in my head that I'm excited, but man, this is going to be the last show. I already have a little letdown coming up, but I know there's no time off because Monday is my first basketball game.
I was going to say, I know basketball's coming up at some point.
Oh, it has already started.
Yeah. I figured it started, but when we talked last, it was coming up at some point after the show. I thought it was later in the week, but Monday you're off and running.
I am.
Oh my God. Is it only one game or is it a couple?
On Monday it's just one game. But
just one game.
There'll be, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'll be doing games. Not every night, but sporadically throughout the week. We'll probably get 2 or 3 a week, so. Yeah. This is the time to hunt and peck to when am I going to record spotlights. Fridays not doing games. I put that in my contract again because this is definitely, being a dick, more important to me. We always do Camp Crushers on Friday, so. Yeah. So I needed something. Get ready. This is a big kicker.
I can't wait.
I needed something to mindlessly not care, but just to fidget. So I went looking for a game.
Oh boy.
Because that's the easiest way I can do that.
Okay, PlayStation or mobile game?
PlayStation.
Okay.
I now own a power wash company.
Oh my God. You pulled the trigger.
I did. Dude, I'm telling you. 2 other people in this house think I'm stupid. Yes. But it just, boom. All right, I have to wash a motorcycle. I have to wash a car. I washed a house. I'm in the midst of washing a playground right now. That's taking a while.
Oh,
and there's so many more jobs to do, but they've already released packs that you can buy.
The DLCs are out.
Yeah. Hogwarts, maybe way down the line because I don't care about that.
Hogwarts?
Yeah.
The magical school Hogwarts.
Yeah, that stuff. It's either Hogwarts or
I'm
Land of the Rings or whatever, Lord of the Rings.
Well, that one's going to be even more surprising. But Hogwarts is surprising that power washing game got the license for Hogwarts.
Right? Well, get ready because the 2 that I'm thinking about, which one am I going to pull the trigger on when I have nothing to do, is either going to be SpongeBob,
oh my God,
or Back to the Future. Remember how we talked about and I'm going to mess it up because the Mandalorian is Star Wars. The DeLorean.
The DeLorean, yeah.
Yeah. I think I have to go to Back to the Future first, right? Because you have to watch because I've checked them out. They're only $7.99. You have to watch the clock. You have to watch DeLorean, the mall, I think.
I think you have to go Back to the Future first, but I need gameplay footage of the SpongeBob one. I think we gotta dust off the YouTube channel and put that up there because I gotta see how SpongeBob's power washing goes. I mean, that's just gonna be wild.
This game is, you can pick the soaps, you can pick your nozzles and everything, and I'm like, this is mindless. I couldn't even hunt because you know how I get into hunting about
Yeah.
an animal scaring me or I really want to kill it right and this, that, and the other. Sorry, PETA people, but it's a video game. So I really want to make sure it's done right. So I'm into hunting. This is nothing. And I know you can't see me with Jenks can. It is literally just moving your thumbs, moving the water wand up and down, switching soaps from metal soap to plastic to all purpose but it's detailed. Like I'm in a park right now. You know how parks have giant ass swing sets?
Well, yeah.
Each nook and cranny, you have to, it's not just like go over the fence real quick and it's called. No.
You gotta make sure it's all clean.
I bet you I have 3 hours already into the park of washing it, and I'm nowhere near fucking done. There's the explicit.
What? Are you kidding me?
No. It's crazy. It's so stupid that it's fun.
I mean, it sounds fun. Don't get me wrong. Like, it would be satisfying and a blast. But at the same time, it's like, holy crap.
What are you doing with your life?
Like, what are you doing that you're saying, why don't you go out and open a power washer? You know, it's like, what? But it's not a bad thing because honestly, I do the same thing you're doing. I have a power washer, but I'd rather sit there. There's no penalty.
I'm not getting wet.
If you fuck something up. Yeah, exactly. You're not getting wet, and if you fuck something up, it's in a video game. Yeah, restart. There's a mulligan built into it, but oh my God.
Another reason why I went looking for this is I jumped too fast on the beer game. And it's sad because I have to tell you this.
Uh-oh.
I have to restart my whole career.
Really?
I bought way too much. And now, because I'm like, oh, I'm going to buy this. Clearly the goal of the game is buy it as you need it.
Right.
And there was one thing I'm like, I'm not going to need that for a while. Now I need it, but I have 95 fucking different hops sitting in the freezer, in the fridge, and this and that I can't buy what I need.
Yeah.
So at some point in this winter, I will start beer again. Now that I know what I'm doing, maybe that was the trial run, and that can kick off the, hey, this is dad playing video games type of deal thing, because people can actually watch me make the same beers that I've made before, and yada yada. And maybe I can sell Bayside Bailey right.
Maybe, but yeah. I think you got to leave it as it is. Bayside. Video game front. I'm excited. Tuesday, as you guys are listening to this, December 12th, they have released God of War's DLC, which they just announced last week. It was a free DLC, so you can download it for free and get it. It's called Valhalla. So I will be playing the shit out of that occasionally this past week. I would have. And I guess it's called rogue-like in the game. What that is, I wasn't familiar with the term until I looked it up. Basically, it's just dungeon levels. So it's a dungeon crawl. You're just going through, trying to figure out what weapons you need to go through and pass through the dungeon level. But they will send you back to the beginning outside of Valhalla, and you keep going back in. It's basically a DLC that's never ending. Essentially, I don't know if there's an endpoint, but it's supposed to serve as the epilogue for what God of War Ragnarok was. So I've been excited for that. I nearly lost my shits and gigs last week when I saw it was coming out. So I was pumped about that, but
I'm getting some, I don't know, maybe strong-armed that I need to get Fortnite to play with a couple of my wrestling buddies.
See, that happened with Abrea. Her mom's like, you should play Fortnite because they have a PS5 and all that stuff. And her friend, Brea's friend, plays it. But she's like, I don't want to do it. And I go, well, if you don't want to do it, you don't have to, right? But like the peer pressure is going to be on there. And I go, well, you know what? You could play as Eminem for like 2 seconds and then get off of it because she's a big Eminem fan. Yes, my niece is an Eminem fan. Nice. I was at the same age. So they go around the outside. But Mockingbird's her favorite song, by the way. Anyways.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She likes others, trust me, but Mockingbird, sorry. But yeah, so you're getting strong on. Why is everybody getting strong armed into Fortnite? Am I missing something?
I played it a hot second when it first came out with Ethan, and I can't build, I can't run, I can't do all this at once, but apparently, and I'm going to throw them under the bus, the three of them, it's Nathaniel Cunningham, Donnie Bambino, and Shelby Waters, of course, like,
of course,
my home dogs. They're like, get on and we'll just go. They've gotten rid of, you can play without building now. So maybe, but I'm still not quick on guns and this, that, and the other and just shooting random hidgely-pidgely. But I did see there's a Lego.
Oh, yeah. I did see
and I'm
that
like,
too.
well, that might be cool.
The Lego games are cooler than anybody gives them credit for, I feel like.
Ethan and I played Batman and Robin, where you play together and you do all the...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Batman Returns or whatever it was called. We played that for the longest time. Beat it like 1 or 2 times. It's so fun. So I played
DC Superheroes Lego Edition, which is very good. And then the Harry Potter series is Lego too, and I started playing that a little bit. And that was pretty good.
We got City too, where you're like you can be 80 different people.
Yeah.
You can cop. Maybe I'll get those for no, I'm too busy power washing right now.
You could get them for Christmas. Ethan, Kelly, get him Lego.
But yeah, they don't.
Get him Lego Fortnite or something. Lego games.
Yeah. Well, Fortnite's free.
Well, yeah, that is true. Fortnite is free. I just never downloaded it. I could care less.
Call EA and tell them, can you push up NCAA a little bit faster?
We should accept right now that it is still on pace and on track for happening.
It is. All right. Do you want to talk wrestling?
What's wrestling? Yeah.
Right?
We should talk wrestling. Let's do it.
I enjoyed the shit out of myself spending the weekend up with you guys watching Collision. Probably one of the best Collisions I've seen in a while that you guys watched 2 weeks ago now. And the ROH tapings. I did not watch ROH when it came out. I did rewatch the Collision that we were on, so to speak. Yeah. And I'll tell you this. I'm sort of a fraud this week about talking wrestling. I'll just throw myself right under the bus. With everything's going on, I don't know how people can only watch clips. And I'm not throwing everybody else under the bus and say they can keep up. Because that's essentially what I did this week. That's why this is not the show that we normally do. Next week's show will be back to the normal. Keeping up just with, yes, everybody has busy lives, but mine is existential. That's not even the word I'm looking for, but fuck it.
That's a crisis that's waiting to happen, I think.
Well, there you go. That's perfect. Yeah. I tried just doing the clip thing this week. Like, I didn't spend time watching shows. I watched a lot of Instagram, this, that, and the other thing. Messes with my head. I'm not a clip guy. I really am not. So I read a lot this week of not opening a book. Whew, I haven't hit that part yet. By the way, I pre-ordered Becky's book.
Yeah.
It comes out in March. I already pre-ordered that. I'm excited about that. But I did see, and I know this came out a long time ago, probably pre-summer, like end of spring. Todd is God. I forgot about that. About Todd Gordon who started at ECW.
Yeah.
That, if anybody wants to give me a Christmas present, that is on the list that I need to get. But, yeah. So I read a lot of stuff, essentially, about what went on. And if I noticed something that I was really intrigued about, I searched it out. I couldn't just watch a clip and say, oh, yeah, I know what's going on.
Yeah.
So I'm a little bit of a fraud this week, and I'll throw myself under the bus, but I know Jenks has my back. That's why it's a little bit of a different show. But I do want to start with one major thing that'll catapult, then we'll kind of go backwards. And I know you're with me. What the fuck is wrong with Eric Bischoff?
I have no idea. It's another somebody just being a talking head to kind of get notoriety of sorts. If you
take ROH behind the barn and shoot it because it's dead? What?
To me, that's not watching It's not watching the product. And if you say you watch the product, you're not watching the product. You're watching the crowd in the product, I feel like. Because
we can speak about the crowd. The crowd in the product, ROH is not a crowd participation wrestling event anymore.
It's not. But it's also not set up to be, because for our case, and because we enjoyed the wrestling that was there.
Yeah.
But for ROH, it took it to a fifth hour. Basically, we left the arena at midnight to get out of there because they did the ROH taping after Collision, which is fine. They can do that. But by the time you hit that last match, it's gassed.
The youngsters.
Youngsters are gone. Parents are gone. And it's really only your diehards that are left sitting there. And even then, they're kind of struggling to get re-energized. I mean, I speak for myself. I blew up my voice beginning of Collision, and then I kept on screaming. And man, at some point, it was just like, well, I gotta stop because I got nothing kind of left in the tank. And you want to keep going for everybody, but it's just one of those things that, you know, ROH. Well, right. ROH is, to your point, not a crowd show. It's a wrestling show. You watch it for the wrestling in the ring. You don't watch it to hear the crowd. And the only thing I can think of is Bischoff, like everybody else on the internet that talks about crowd sizes, they're only looking at the crowd and saying, well, this shit's dead in the water. It's failing. It's dying. It's a dying breed. What do you think? I disagree. I agree with what you're saying. I disagree with what they're saying.
Oh, agree. I want to say next week when we talk about the pay-per-view that happened last night, I want to talk about some of the numbers. Maybe we'll have some numbers of ROH's pay-per-view. Listen, there's 3 matches. There's 4 matches announced, but there's 3 that are making me now join the Honor Club. And it's a 6-man match between the Combat Club against FTR and Briscoe.
Yep.
There's history of Shane Taylor and Keith Lee. Like, those are just 2, and I don't mean to say this, but those are just 2 big fucking men going at it. I'm excited about that. That's today's Andre Big John Stud.
Yeah,
get ready for the hate there. But it is. It's just 2 big men that can move and run. Bigelow against Vader or something like that.
Yeah.
I want to see this. And if you remember the history of them in ROH and then crossing paths everywhere, yes, I want to see that. And I know it may make the Crushies next year, if we remember, or whatever. It could make the Crushies this year.
Yeah.
I think Athena and Billy Starks is going to be fucking amazing.
Oh, yeah, 100%. They will steal the show, I feel like. Even with the 6-man tag, even with Lee and Shane Taylor, that's going to steal the show. From the segment we watched live in Erie for ROH, plus everything that's built up before that, it is a very well progressed storyline that they've built out. And it's coming to a boiling point at Final Battle that I think is going to be one of the things that just completely catapults the show to the upper echelon.
Agreed. Agreed wholeheartedly. I also want to tell Bischoff, because I know he's one of the thousands of subscribers to Can Crushers, ROH is AEW's NXT.
Yep. Yep.
Hello.
Yep. And I think a lot of people will forget that, but also they want to stick. It's the history they want to stick to, but at the same time, I thought about this too. It's always been, indies have always been that kind of catapult for guys to get to the next level, especially in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Joe, Daniel Bryan, CM Punk, AJ, all of them, up through Adam Cole, Paige, the Bucks, all of them were in ROH, Steen, Generico. They all started in ROH. That's where they got noticed. That's where they got their bread and butter. That's what put them into the companies that they ended up in.
Yeah.
It's just doing that, but it's internal to AEW now. And I think a lot of people miss that or don't want to accept that as fact.
That's exactly, they don't want to accept it. They still think, listen, ROH is elite.
Yeah.
Hold that banner up right now because
Yep.
Tony Khan owns it, okay? It's an AEW product now, just like Dynamite, Collision, whatever. It's AEW. That's why everybody sprinkled across. They're doing the same thing at WWE. NXT went through the colorful time.
Yeah.
NXT has not been, it's good still. I'm not slamming NXT during this, but it's not the black and gold that it was. And I don't think it's going to be the black and gold that it was. And ROH isn't going to be the Nigels, the Tyler Blacks, the Steens, the El Genericos, all these names that you just mentioned, add more on. It's not going to get to that anymore because of, one, there's so many indies.
Yeah.
Two, you're focusing. Listen, you guys realize that, like, Billy Starks is the star of ROH.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is her training grounds to, in maybe a couple years yet, she'll be the flag bearer at AEW. She'll get sprinkled, but this is also, look at who they had down there training, with the air quotes. Athena was down there getting all these young ladies ready.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hell of a person to have on your roster, still wrestling, being a champ, holding everything for herself, and coming over once in a while to AEW. Yeah. Now she's going to get her flowers. I believe she's coming up to the big roster.
Right.
And she's going to be a player.
Yeah. 100%.
And now you leave it to the Billy Starks. Maybe you have Red Velvet jump back down there and do some stuff. Yada, yada, yada. There's a lot. They can do stuff in ROH. They just need to be shifted. That, no disrespect, listen, 2 months ago, Sky Blue, boom. Yeah, she's still wrapped around the TBS title. She drops down to ROH and Billy starts something with her? Hello?
Yeah. Well, and I think
used her what she needed used for. Sorry, go ahead now.
No, go for it. No, you're absolutely 100% correct. It's the thing with, like, Willow and Sky Blue, they just took off so rapidly in AEW that they really couldn't control that ship and say, okay, let's back you down to ROH. They had them on Dark when they had Dark and Elevation going. They let them build their brand there, and then essentially they just let them run on the brands. Eventually they'll come down, or somebody's going to come down and keep going back and forth. Billy Starks right now is acting as the Bayley, if you want to make the comparison between what she was to NXT and the notoriety she had on the main roster. She could make the jump to be Sasha's partner at whatever the hell Battleground or Battlefield or whatever the hell that pay-per-view was before she made her official debut and was brought up. Because people understood her. People knew her. She was the face of that brand, no matter what guy was down there. Billy Starks is starting to become the face of that brand. And it's only helping that you're seeing, like they put on the 6-man tag where it's Blackpool Combat Club versus FTR and Briscoe. That's a special attraction match. Just to get you to buy in. For ROH. Just to get you to buy in. Because ROH is that brand where it's like, okay, we're establishing and we're trying to create our own talents here, but let's get the upper league guys in here just to kind of get you really jazzed up and push the numbers on Honor Club.
Becky is NXT champion earlier this year.
100%. It's 100%. They're doing it so that it gets eyes on their product. That Briscoe and the Combat Club, that could be your main event. I don't know yet, but you're going to watch every other match that's on this card and be like, oh, that was pretty good. Oh, Shane Taylor, Keith Lee can do that? Oh, my. Athena and Billy Stark, they just tore the house down. I love these ladies. Where can I get more? Guess what? You bought Honor Club. Now you can sit there and watch Honor Club and just capture everything in going forward. They're setting it up for success. The low-hanging fruit is put the 6-man tag in there, but they're doing it, I don't want to say bait, but they're pulling you in to watch the other talent and understand the future's here. Yep. What you see on our main roster, that's great and all. There's some future talent there that's going to be there a while. but the future, we're creating it down here with some veterans that help guide these kids along to get them where they need to be.
2 months ago, we were like, what's going to get us there? We weren't ready to spend the $10. We were gonna. We were on the fence. We said by the end of the year, something's going to happen. It's not the bait of FTR being there. It really isn't.
It's the women's title match.
Yeah. It's the Lady Frosts, who is elite, by the way, as well. You know, Pittsburgh girl. It's that. Transition, but stay together. This is where NWA needs to just fucking merge with ROH and have a working relationship. Because, listen, one of the Henry girls from Pretty Empowered turned 20 earlier this week. I think it was Kylie. Future everything in the business. Really, really. If they can get the men's side of the NWA is still a little rough. I will say that to EC3 to his face. I don't care. They get some of those women from NWA over, the Nueveses, the Allures, the Henrys, I think that only bolsters ROH. Right. That's where they should have a working relationship. Billy should, if anybody, and I don't want him to take it behind the barn or anything, but if anybody should tuck his tail and come asking Tony to work, hey, all right, maybe we won't work AEW, but can ROH NWA do something together? I think that's a match made in heaven.
Oh, I agree. Because if you're not willing to take this, they need the step forward. They need the notoriety. If they're not willing to go back with TNA and make that connection happen, go to ROH. Get that infusion of stars, even if it's a couple people, just to come down to NWA and work, or have NWA stars come up to ROH. I can't remember who it was, but a couple months ago there was an NWA person that came up, I'm pretty sure. But
I can't remember off. But yeah.
I can't remember either. But make it happen. You just need the working relationship. You need to get into somewhere to get your notoriety, to get the exposure for some of these people, so that when they do come back, like Kylie, and when she comes back to NWA, the spotlight's on her. People will go with her and start watching the product even more and more. And then they're going to say, oh, that was Damian Sandow in WWE. So why is he managing this person? Let me watch that. Or, oh my God, it's Chris Masters. What's he doing here? Why is he Adonis? What's his deal down here? You know, same thing with EC3. It's getting people in with the name brands that they're established, or just getting the exposure for young people in other brands to bring in that audience. Even if it's a couple hundred people, it's a couple hundred more people than you've had.
Word of mouth spreads.
Exactly. Word of mouth spreads. People are building it up, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, light bulb. Okay, this was good.
I need the CW app then all of a sudden.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have the CW app, by the way.
Neither do I. But it draws people in, and it makes them think, okay, I'm in. I'm in for this. 100%. Marketing 101.
That was my big one. Bischoff's an idiot, essentially. Do you have one?
Well, I think my only one is, outside of that, is Nick Nemeth has shown up, or is showing up somewhere in Euphoria. It's not in a U.S. thing, because I'm looking at Matt Cardona's Instagram right now, and the poster is, I believe, Spanish.
Yes.
Don't quote me on that, but I believe it's January 20th, 2024, if I remember what Sabado is. But yeah, so big news there. His first appearance somewhere. Doesn't mean that's where he's working, but it's at least an appearance somewhere, somehow, with his brother, Chris Adonis, Masterpiece, and Matt Cardona.
Well, this past week, and I don't remember the day exactly, was the day that all the free agents, they got the Eliases, the Dolphs, the Aaliyah.
Yeah.
All that whole group that got cut on that day could sign. So now essentially, as of today, listening to this, they're legit free agents. They can run amok. They could be the devil. They could paint the town red. Oh, she's a devil.
Good devil. Bad motherfucking devil. Okay.
Right. So.
Not what you people needed. But that's what you got. Hold on. Before we jump off, I had to get the date right. Everybody listening today, Saturday, December 16th, just wanted to call to your attention that it's bowl season, baby, in college football. So
there's 4 or 5 games today.
Yeah, 4 or 5. I'm trying to get a good schedule here. ESPN, of course, sucks at having their schedule, whatever they put out here. So give me a second here.
Earlier this week, it was Bleacher Report actually had it broken down. I got something. Bowlseason.com has something on here. Has it? 5 games today. If you're listening this morning, starting at 11 a.m. We should do sometime. Can you name that bowl? Or play bowl trivia? Yeah.
Would you think Myrtle Beach has a bowl? Because they do.
Well, yeah. Actually, yes, I did. Because when Reese Ramon was on, and she was wondering, we actually got into it for where the hell does she go to school? The Thunder and Herd. Marshall,
yeah.
Yeah. They were in the mix of going to Myrtle Beach, someplace, or Alabama, and they actually ended up, I believe they won outright. Now I think they're going to Texas, which she didn't bring up at all, that they were going to Texas, but I think they're in a Texas Bowl of some sort. They're in Texas, not the Texas Bowl.
But they're playing in Texas.
Yeah. But, yeah, the games today, they started at
11.
Ohio against GSO.
Yeah.
Southern.
Georgia Southern, yeah.
Then you have the Raging Cajuns against JVS. I don't even know who that
Jacksonville State.
Okay.
They were one of the ones that could not get in unless somebody lost out with JMU, James Madison. So they both did really well. Some teams needed to lose to not be bowl eligible to get them in, and that miracle happened.
By the way, the spreads are amazing. They're only 3 or 4, by the way.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Miami, Ohio against App State. That's a 3:30 game. I'll probably watch that prior to going on stage. Fresno against New Mexico State. That's when I'm on stage. Boise and UCLA. That's probably the big one that people probably linger to.
I mean, it's hosted by Gronk, so if that's not some sort of shit show in its own right, I don't know what is. Starco Brands LA Bowl hosted by Gronk is how they're listing it on here. And then you got the Independence Bowl in Shreveport, Cal and Texas Tech to round out the Saturdays.
We should have did bowl pick'em.
I think we still can. I mean, just between us, we should have did it. We could have did a whole segment on it, I guess.
Right. I'm not starting out on air, but
right.
We could play a bowl pick'em.
Oh yeah, we can figure that out. Oh yeah, for sure. I'm trying to.
Marshall is in the Frisco Bowl, by the way. That's Tuesday night at 9:00. If anybody wants to see Reese Ramon, and they're favored to win. So bowls until January.
Bowls out the ass until January. Yeah. And then, good. Duke's Mayo Bowl, North Carolina and West Virginia. Which Drake May just declared for the NFL draft, so I don't know if he's going to partake in that bowl.
Several names have already said,
They're either gone, heading to the draft, or they're heading somewhere else.
Or the portal has been brutal.
The portal has been... I think
Pitt lost their whole defense, by the way.
Oh, I wouldn't be surprised by that.
They did get a new offensive coordinator.
Did they?
Yeah, I know some Chattanooga. No, I don't even know where he's from. But nonetheless, let's pay the bills. Come back, talk this week in wrestling of what I know and what Jenks knows more of. So, you ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
Collar and Elbow hats, what he sees, all the cool stuff that Alsona hooligans have down at Collar and Elbow. Buy it. Christmas is ticking upon you. So if you have podcast people that like shirts, like myself or Jenks, I wear an extra large. Jenks wears a 2 to 3.
Yeah, somewhere
X?
in there.
Yeah,
I can feel snug in a 2.
3X then. No snugness around Jenks's testosterone area. Use our promo code when you buy kids' shirts. What's the promo code?
From my testosterone area, Can Crushers get 10% off at collar and elbow. We do have a WWE shop code that's out there. It may get you a discount, may not, but it's a affiliate code. It helps us out. Click the link in the show notes, which I think we'll have it linked there as well.
You do.
So get some holiday gifts there. I would recommend getting those holiday gifts probably today, since you're listening on December 16th, so that they're here for the holidays.
And we're not guaranteeing that they're going to be.
We are not, but praying to God, because it's pretty late in the game if you're just getting them now. So,
listen, I just ordered a present recently for my aunt that was a giveaway from a San Diego Padre game in July. So I had from now since July until last week to order it. But
First watching.
Yeah, it didn't work out in my way. Where can you listen to us? Well, IMDb has us. They have a list of Martinez stuff on there. So I don't know. I'm kidding. Spotify, iHeart, Apple, every place that you listen to podcasts, wherever you're listening right now is probably your favorite. But you should check out Podurama. It's seamless. If you're listening on your phone and you want to go into your house and listen on your laptop, on your Alexa, on your TV, wherever, download that Podurama app. Sign up for the lifetime membership. Right now you're getting 50% off, and everything will be seamless.
Yeah, make Podurama your new favorite after that. Sign up for that lifetime membership. Just saying. But you can also contact us via email at cancrusher69@gmail.com. Leave us a lovely phone message at 814-299-6687. 3 minutes in length, no 15 to 14, 90,000 calls, unless you really love us, Dan, which you do. But yeah, leave us questions for the upcoming Ask Can Crushers that we've been debating for a little bit now. Comments, feedback, whatever you want to do, leave a nice email, a voicemail if you want to have your voice played on air, or at least get us across your message. Get a hold of us. We're nice guys for the most part.
Yeah, I've been called an asshole a lot this week for the people into play. I think it was endearing, though. Or you could reach out to us on any of the social medias. Oh, definitely endearing. Instagram, X, Threads, or Facebook, whatever one you want to drop us a DM, join the discussions on all of it. Listen, there's not many discussions on X or Threads with us. We just keep it. Listen, I use X a lot to contact wrestlers, to schedule stuff. I don't think I've done shit on Threads, but it's still there. We're still posting there.
Threads is still the cesspool of every single social media platform out there, no matter how hard they try. So,
yeah, it really
avoid Threads. If you have Threads, you have an Instagram, so contact us on Instagram. I mean, that just makes more sense then.
Right, and if you're our age or my age, Facebook is still all right. I know it's not hip and cool with the youngsters,
but it's still there.
It's easy access. All right, we come back. We're going to stumble through a little bit of This Week in Wrestling, some more topics that we want to talk about, and then I always say episode 3. We don't have 3 episodes in 1 week.
We have segments. Yeah, right. Segments.
We'll do maybe not bold predictions, but we'll talk about what we foresee in 2024.
Wrestling. A love and a passion we all share. I've started a wrestling brand. The wrestling brand. A brand founded on the aspects of wrestling. 2 entities working together to create a product that connect emotionally for people everywhere. Collar and Elbow is the brand. Passion and love for wrestling is the drive. I am Al Snow, and this is Collar and Elbow, the wrestling brand.
Hey, this is Mariah May, the glamour, but you knew that. And you're listening to Can Crushers.
Welcome back to Can Crushers, folks. It's Mark, it's Mike. We're ready to talk a little bit about wrestling in general. This is going to kind of be like State of the Union. We do one of these every so often of what's going on in wrestling, what we like, maybe some concerns, injuries. That's kind of where I'm going to start.
Okay.
With my big thing. Listen, I know everybody isn't a Charlotte Flair fan, but we're on WrestleMania season.
Yeah.
A WrestleMania without Charlotte is, to me, it's rough.
It's a big deal. Bigger deal than I think a lot of people think about. And I know you can't, injuries happen in a match and all that stuff, but starting this early, hopefully it's something that can be resolved in the next 6 to 8 weeks, maybe leading up to Rumble. Maybe she can come back to Rumble. But, man, that is...
From what I read,
get scary.
I don't think Rumble's, if anything, I don't think Rumble's in the story.
It's
going to be a surprise back for Elimination Chamber or around that area if she can limp into Mania. And I pun, but I don't mean it mean. She had a big issue with her knee.
Yeah, there's a major issue with her knee, and unless she's on the Aaron Rodgers plan, she's not getting back that soon. So,
anyway, kudos to him.
I don't know how. I want to know what deal he made with the devil or deity to get him back, but he's painting the town red up in New Jersey. That might end up being the podcast name for this week, is some variation of that. But it's rough to see that because we give her a lot of shit for her coming in, just plopping right into a title picture and running with it. What I will say is Trips has done a very good job of kind of avoiding her just taking over a title reign very quickly afterwards. And so now it's kind of like, okay, we saw what she could do for Rhea to put her over. She was on track for Bianca, which didn't really need put over, but it's a resume builder to face Charlotte and be put over by Charlotte. But now it's like, okay, injuries just caught up with her. What's the next step? How do you work around that? Because that takes essentially one of your big players off the card right now.
To me, it's been that she's going to get Jade. If you're going to put somebody over, listen, Bianca's over, Becky's over, Bayley did it. They're good. Some of the youngsters, Zoe's building her own thing, and you're not going to get Nat against Charlotte. Nobody cares.
Yeah.
Everybody in the Hart family can come after me for that, but nobody wants to see something like that.
Right.
Jade is the one that I think is going to suffer now because, granted, she hasn't been on air a little bit in a while again, this, that, and the other, but it is, to me, is Rumble season. You know, Rumble's 8 weeks away, but it's still close enough that people are declaring we can build for it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited now because Rumble, favorite pay-per-view of the year for the aspect of it. You know, when we get to pay-per-view of the year, Full Gear, but the spectacle match of the Rumble, always my all-time favorite. Just that interaction they could have had to start something to lead to Mania. Charlotte's not there. Jade doesn't get that, or you're going to have to pull Becky off of what we think is maybe Bianca or whomever. Like, listen, it's written what's going on in Mania already.
Oh yeah,
this hurts because this could in Charlotte injury. She bounces back, she comes back, she'll be fine. It's who she's working with that's going to hurt. And as of right now, if it's in my mind and it's Jade, oof, what do we do with Jade now? Because Jade Rhea doesn't do anything for me because I digress. People are going to give me hate. Rhea's not my woman of the year, and I'll leave it at that. She didn't do enough for me. And we go on from there.
Yeah.
I don't know if Jade Becky does it either. They're two polar opposites. I want to see somebody the same. Flair's a bitch. She's high profile. Jade's a bitch. She high profile. And I mean this out of love before people are thinking you're going to take any of this and clip it and say, oh my God, Ken Crusher's called them both a bitch. That's not what I mean. Play the whole segment, fuckers. That's their gimmick. That's what they do. That clash I want to see is the newbie of Jade, the baddest bitch, going to be able to take over the queen bitch. That's what I want right now, and that's going to hurt.
No, I completely agree, because if you think about it in that terms, it's all about putting people over. And last year, Rhea was, well, this year, I guess, Rhea was getting there and was getting to that echelon, but she wasn't surpassing anything. And that match with Charlotte basically put the rocket on her ass and shot her to the moon. And that's why people really love Rhea right now, is for that reason alone. Her title reign hasn't been the greatest, but we could digress on what that reasoning is but we've talked about it in depth long time. The talent's just not on Raw for that to have a sustained tag title match. For me, to your point, Mark, I said I was thinking it was a Charlotte-Bianca match. That just seemed how they were building it up. For Jade, if it was truly Jade and Charlotte, it makes total sense, because Charlotte does understand how to build a match and get people through a match, and that's what Jade needs. Jade needs those individuals that can carry the match with her in it and highlight her strong suits, downplay the weaknesses that she may have, and they're not that many with Jade.
No.
She was starting to get up there in AEW. This is just her big shot now, this is what she wants. But I think Charlotte can get you there. Becky and Rhea is the best appealing match that was coming into next year's Mania. And that needs to stay put. I think for me, for Jade, it's like, do you plug in anybody else with Charlotte if that was the match? Or do you say to Jade, let's put you in NXT and let you star in NXT? Because to me, even if you put Bianca in that role, Bianca's too fresh to be placed in that position to get Jade over. And she shouldn't be sacrificing her own to get Jade over, because Bianca has her own brand, and they should be the two pillars on each brand that are really that unstoppable
next year's
force.
Mania match.
That could be a next year Mania match when Jade has a year under her belt of main roster matches and all of that stuff. I think if it's not Charlotte, then they might have to consider just taking Jade and say, okay, build yourself up in NXT. Let's have you run the gauntlet in NXT until SummerSlam, then come out, challenge Charlotte. Don't have to win the title. Just get her matches after matches after matches and figure it out from there. I mean, it's the best way to get her something worthwhile.
Her and Tiff Stratton could have matches that I could probably be engulfed with. Doesn't have to be built around the title.
No. But it's a good idea. I mean, doesn't have to be around the title. I think there's a ton of ladies that could work with her down there to really get her along, and I'm sure they're already doing it behind the scenes, but don't sacrifice matches just to put somebody on the card, is what I'm saying. Because they've done that in the past. I don't think they'll do it under Triple H, because I think they understand what they've been building, and they can't scrap what they've been building because it's a year on. Rhea Becky, year on. It's the same thing if, God forbid, Seth drops tomorrow with his back injury, right? And he's facing Punk. It's the same thing. They didn't even need to build anything besides what Punk walking out 3 weeks ago. That built it all. So now, if that falls, there's other options for Punk, but you don't have to sacrifice your other matches for him. Like, Randy's still too young in the game right now to be back, although I'm seeing what that Mania match could be already if you watch the tag match on Friday. It's still young in the game. Not a lot of people are picking up on that. So maybe, just maybe, you could change course with that. but you're not going to sacrifice a Roman Cody for a CM Punk match with Roman. That's not going to happen. You got too much invested in that to finish the story. So I think it's the same thing with the women. You just can't sacrifice another match to suffice one person. Don't sacrifice your greater good of storytelling. That's what crippled it before, and they're finally in a better place to go along with it.
Agreed. What do you got? We'll do the bounce back and forth.
Yeah, well, I'm just going to go off this point because I think now we're seeing what storytelling can do to a product to help catapult it forward even more than what the wrestling can do around it. In WWE, it's more coherent storytelling going on right now across the board. They've had it before, but now it's more coherent. It bleeds into other things. They're teasing a bunch of stuff. It's more complex. It really seems like that Marvel guy they hired earlier this year is really paying off for that. Imagine that, right?
Everybody's like, what? This guy?
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
But it makes sense now because we've planned a path to get what they want out of it, and now we're seeing those webs start coming together, and it's probably the most coherent story-driven product I've heard in a while. On the flip side, you look at AEW and what they're doing in that. What was one of our favorite matches of the year was a story-driven blood feud that picked up an intensity over a month and a half period of time between Swerve and Paige. When you do a story right, it tells a beautiful and sometimes absolutely disgusting story that needs to happen. Because if you're in a street fight, which is essentially what the Texas Death Match boiled down, you're bloodied, you're disgusting, you're destroying each other. Storytelling raised that to 11. If it's just a straight up one-on-one match, it is what it is. And I think that's also helping the Continental Classic right now with the way that's going.
Let's stick and stay there.
Okay. What you had a very exacerbated
and it was good because my God. We knew with the names in it was going to be something.
Yeah.
Now we put this extra word on it. It is something special. I thought that the rule, because nobody could be out there, was going to be shenanigan driven in some matches, but they're sticking and staying with it. We said last week Mark Briscoe doesn't have a chance. Man, Mark Briscoe's matches have been fucking phenomenal, though, in this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's not a matchup now that I don't want to see. The first couple of weeks, I'm like, okay, we were pinpointing the ones that we want to see. We were on Danielson 2023 watch, I want them to cross now. I want more, even the losers.
Yeah.
Send Briscoe over to take on These are all pay-per-view matches of some sort caliber that they're putting into that. This title is going to be the greatest title in America.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's storytelling within itself as well. Because they're making this better than the Universal Championship. The WWE, they're building this story better than the Pat Patterson IC tournament that took place in San Pablo or wherever the hell it was.
Yeah. In Brazil, yeah.
I can't get enough of these matches. That's what's... I'm not saying it's the only thing, but I make sure when I am watching wrestling, 2-week pause essentially, but when I'm sitting down next week and the following weeks prior and all of that, I don't go to the bathroom during these matches.
Yeah.
I don't pause it. I don't, the house could be burning down. Cool. I'm going to finish this match first because it might be the last match. Because they're just that good. I don't care if it's just a quick 5-minute match. There's enough storytelling in the match that Briscoe, and I'm going to keep on Briscoe since he's essentially eliminated from winning.
Right.
But there's still enough that he's going to try to play spoiler now.
Yep.
Is he going to spoil somebody? Is Mark Briscoe going to ruin it for
somebody that's left? I think so, but that's a different story. We can get to that later, but go on.
No, that I didn't think it was going to be as great. Yeah. Because the last time we saw something like this, no knock on TNA, but a huge fucking knock on TNA, that whole gamut of kind of whatever they did, I don't know, 15 years ago now, when it was that big of a tournament round robin thing, they kind of did it, they just, Hidgely Pidgely has been stuck in my head now for a while. I don't know why. They did it like that, though. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, man, I hope nothing like this ever happens in wrestling again. Tony took the concept, spun it. This is a fucking masterpiece.
Yeah. Well, it's based off of G1, right? So I think New Japan perfected what this could be. I agree with what you were saying about TNA. It just did not fly, and I think it might have been too infant for it to be fully comprehended within wrestling and story-driven conversation. But again, if you're a student of the game, which Tony clearly is, and I think a lot of people forget that. I mean, MJF called him a mark last year during one of his promos. Right. He's a student of the game. He understands that this concept works in Japan, and if it's done right, and with the right players involved in it, it can be a beautiful masterpiece that builds a story within itself. And that's essentially what it is. It's basically, you're playing 5 games. Think about it in terms of a football season. You're playing 5 games. You're going to finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. You might tie, cross the line, you may not. But some teams are going to falter. Some teams are going to stand out.
This is a regular season right now.
This is the regular season to get them to the playoff. And now we're seeing things where we got Swerve and Mox coming up next week at Winter is Coming, which Winter is Coming came out of fucking nowhere because they were talking about it for nothing. And then all of a sudden Winter is Coming. They did the Leo theme, and I go,
Winter is actually really coming, though. It's not
waiting. It's not waiting. It's coming now. So, but it's fascinating. We have 9-win versus 9-win. That's a storyline. Mark Briscoe is doing well enough in these tournaments. It has me believing he's going to spoil somebody's tournament. If anything, he's going to get a fucking draw on somebody and make them fucking only get a point, and they miss out on the playoff by 2 points or something like that.
Yep.
That's where this is coming up. And then we've been talking about the Blue League, or the Gold League. Let's talk about the Blue League, which has Eddie Kingston's redemption arc going on after dropping 2-0, 2 straight. Yep. We got that going on. We got Brody King running fucking through people. Danielson's getting bloodied by Andrade and barely walking afterwards. The Blue League is a murderer's row fist fight. The Gold League's got your professional wrestling. It's entertaining. The Blue League is these are the hardcore guys that are going to make you bleed every fucking match. And poor Daniel Garcia, who's in wrestling for maybe 5 years, is getting fucked by these massive fucking guys just beating the shit out of him. But that's what he wants. And he fits in perfectly with that. So he may not win anything in this thing.
I can't see.
But he's going to stand toe to toe with these motherfuckers and go down with them. So that's the beauty of what this tournament has become. It's a storyline. It's story driven, and basically it's mano a mano, and we're trying to get to whatever this playoff is to get this new title.
How does Kingston bounce back? Because we always say there's no way in hell New Japan's going to let that title just go away without it being on their show.
Yep. Exactly.
Is it?
I don't know.
Are they stealing thoughts from us? New Japan's now like, Can Crushers knows what's going on. We have to Swerve.
Yeah. Well, think about it this way. I mean, Mox is the only one with a match. Well, besides Danielson, you've already put in Wrestle Kingdom. You're putting in New Japan, the Japanese fans' minds. Mox could walk into the triple threat for the UK title. I think it's for the UK title. With the New Japan strong, the ROH World title, and whatever this Continental Classic title is, or you have Danielson's going to walk in with these 3 belts against fucking Okada and face Okada at Wrestle Kingdom, who
by the
is
way,
very soon going to be expiring his contract in January. So, hello. Welcome to that fun and excitement, right?
yeah. By the way, Will Ospreay, I'm all elite. I'm going to take some time before I get over here. Oh, in the meanwhile, let's drop this. And Okada's contract is also ending roughly the same time. Give or take a couple months. He's worked AEW already.
Yeah.
Kind of nice working relationship. Are we getting Okada for, even if it's a year, every fucking week for a year? And they said, all right, now I want to go back because my visa's whatever.
Well, now that I've already worked this tournament out of my mind, maybe Danielson does win it, takes it to Wrestle Kingdom, drops it to Okada, any one of those titles. Say it's the New Japan Strong title. Okada now still has ties back to New Japan, can sign with All Elite, come back and forth, because I'm sure he'll have that split contract at same thing that the Will Ospreay, the Ospreay contract. So he can come back with the New Japan Strong title occasionally and just say, okay, hey, gonna rough you up, gonna fight you, and then I'll go back to AEW, defend a little bit, and then go back and forth. It's a match made in heaven to me. I mean,
we've essentially written Eddie Kingston out, though. You know that, right?
We have, but I think it is sad. But at the same time, maybe that's part of the story, the long game of the story, is Eddie's continuous fight, but he falls short to Danielson in the semis. That kind of sets up a beautiful end at All In London, doesn't it? Maybe if Danielson's got just one more match in it, retiring, title versus retirement.
I mean, we already know he's retiring.
Or maybe it's not title versus retirement, but maybe it's Danielson's the AEW champion by that time next year. And maybe Eddie Kingston's redemption arc, sniffing, and Kingston in Wembley wins the title.
Did you buy your tickets yet for Wembley.com? .subway.mcdonald's.
I've lost my pre-sale code. I'm hoping they put another one up because, the 45 that have come up so far have just been right on my head.
I know. The one that we were at in Erie was just as bad as the very first one I've seen. It was just like, all right, Erie loves Pennsylvania, Seawolves, Explosion, Bayhawks, AEW Wembley 2024. What? That's the promo code? I don't think enough characters go in there, but okay.
Yeah, that's over the 72 character limit.
Back and forth. We talk about Danielson. So let's stick and stay on Danielson for a little minute. What's up with this power? He's finding people, social media posts that he is the governor. He is Jack Tunney, essentially, of AEW social media right now. If he doesn't like your post, you're getting fined.
Fine. I mean, it's probably a good thing to help drive storylines, I think. And I'm going to be honest here. Maybe that's why MJF turned face. Because MJF was going out there and just obliterating anybody with a pulse online that made a side comment to him. And now since he's been face, very clean, very cut, very, I love my cats.
For how long?
But for how long is true. But it's taking it to that next level of, okay, Danielson, now there's oversight. There's a reason there's oversight, is we don't want to leak too much, or too many people are kicking hornets' nests and thinking they're going to escape without it, because I think your girl Britt has been kind of driving that a little bit.
You think?
I think.
Or you know?
I don't have confirmation, but I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure. And I like that somebody is stepping up and doing this. I think it's a great thing. Stick and stay with AEW for a minute, because everybody's talking about the devil.
Yeah.
And midway last week, there was this post. I'm kind of scrolling through to see if I can remember the notifications that I keep getting, because people are just on me about it. Nonetheless, it was a picture of the Devil's Men, and then Wardlow in a match. Did you see this?
I saw this.
So people were like, "Oh, it's definitely Wardlow." So I was in a dickheaded mood, and I'm like, "How can you even say that it's and if it's Wardlow, it's Wardlow?" Yes. Do I have thoughts that Wardlow's involved? Yes. Do I have thoughts that Britt's involved? Yes. Do I have thoughts that Cole's involved? Yes. You can spin it any other way. But I was an asshole that day. Imagine that. So they showed Wardlow's foot. They showed the Devil's foot. And I'm like, how can you even make that comparison that it's Wardlow? Just being punny, I said, Wardlow showing his right foot, the Devil showing his left foot, or vice versa. It's insignificant. And people went nuts. Because it's the same boot. And other people then piggybacked off of me saying, oh my God, yeah, only one person in wrestling has black boots. This might be the biggest liked thing I've had on my personal page in years. People were just going apeshit that they're like, oh my God, I don't believe you said that. And the real person, I think, took offense that I was just joking about it. Just being that smark, that asshole, whatever. It just came out. And I thought, well, maybe I should pull it down because did I hurt this guy's feelings or I don't know his situation, whatever. And I'm like, nah, fuck it. So many people just, yes, it probably is Wardlow in that picture. The boots were exact. I understand you wear the same, you don't wear a red boot and a blue boot. Iron Sheik did. But nonetheless.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had to bring that up. I was just, you saw it. I didn't know if you saw it or not. Yeah, people just losing their fucking mind about me making fun of, it's not even the same boot. One's a left foot and one's a right foot.
Yeah. It's a valid point. I mean, I can't disagree with that statement. Listen, if you're going to put stuff online, you're going to take criticism. People are going to be assholes. People are just going to be dicks, or you're going to be a 28-year-old comedian that picks on a 6-year-old. I mean, there's just those fuckers out there too. But at the end of the day, you're just pointing it out, just calling light to the situation. Here's the thing. Wrestling's kayfabe. They're going to find some random schmuck that's backstage or invite people to be backstage to play security guards. That's how MJF got his start, and that's what catapulted an MJF Samoa Joe feud.
It could have been Alan Angels, all we know.
It could have been. It could have been anybody. I mean, it just starts wherever. You can't, they got to pick people to fill these shoes. Unfortunately, Wardlow is the size of a fucking Mack truck sometimes, compared to people. He's fucking built like a brick house. So yeah, people are going to sit there and say, well, that's fucking Wardlow, or it's close to Wardlow. That's why you haven't seen Hobbs in one of these outfits, because A, Hobbs probably won't even fit because he's just so jacked. And like,
Big Black and Mean, or Big Black and
Black and Jacked. Big Black and Jacked, yeah. But it's like, these guys are going to stand out. I mean, guys like Taven and Roddy and Bennett, they could kind of hide behind it, but when you got guys like Wardlow, it is what it is at that point.
Yeah.
I think I loved your comment because it showed, it brought humility to it. It brought a humor to it that I think people are taking it too seriously. It's only meant to entertain. We know, we kind of figure who the end game is, who the last guy is basically with this.
Right.
We think we know. We think we know, baby. It could be pulled over our heads, but it's a fun ride while we get there, and it ties into the storyline gimmick. It's the journey to get you there, and that's what also brings me to, that's what makes the wrestling community beautiful as well. We can have theories out of our ass.
We're like weathermen.
Right? We are. We're right 50% of the time. Well, we're right 60% of every time, or whatever the hell that quote is from Anchorman. I can't think of it right now. But 60% of the time we're right all the time or something. But we got to throw them out there. We got to have our theories. We got to have our conspiracy theories. The months we talked about Punk coming back, conspiracy theory. Who the fuck's the Devil? I said it was Punk. I said it was Cold 3 months ago. I said this and I said that. I'm ecstatic it could be Cole. That seems to be the better judgment right now. But there's so many things that can be out there. That's what makes wrestling fun. It's not about what's happening in the ring, although that's hella good.
That's hella good most of the time.
It's predicting what's going to happen next.
Yeah. It's just, again, and I'll throw this back to any spotlight with maybe an older generation wrestler or even some of the new kids that are trained by, and I'll bring up like Bobby Blaze or Brock's Boulder or anything like that. If there's not a story, it's just a match. And yeah, you can get a story out of a match, but the wrestling driven, and it's been told even when I was a young kid, it's a male soap opera.
Yeah.
It's exactly what it is. It's a soap opera for males. And I know women like it too, but I mean, predominantly back in women, I'm not digging ourselves a hole, but everybody should understand what I'm trying to say. Jesus, Mark. But for the longest time, men watched it. Yeah. And it was Days of Our Lives for us, or it was this, it was that. Now the women are stealing the show, and women are now getting involved. It's a soap opera for the masses that don't want to watch Guiding Light or whatever the hell. Are those even on anymore? Are there soap operas anymore?
There's soap operas, so Guiding Light and all that shit. But then I think wrestling also plays into a reality TV bullshit, which Real Housewives has more fucking drama and storylines than fucking professional wrestling. And I hear that just from talking to my girlfriend all the time about it. Because there's so much shit that you could pull on. People are getting arrested. People are fighting. Their Botox is falling off their face. It's essentially reality TV and soap opera in this day and age, to your point.
Right. But it's entertainment.
Yeah.
With physicality. I have two, but one I want to save until the very end. I want Carmelo to win the U.S. Championship. He's announced for the tournament now. He's going to be representing NXT. But listen, I think it's time. I mean, I thought it was time, WrestleMania time, maybe a little bit at the tail end of last year. I think he comes in, grabs this U.S. title. And it's not a prediction, I just want it. And he runs with it for a while. I think I think it needs to be Carmelo time. What more can he really do down in NXT? We're clamoring for him now, aren't we?
And we are. 100%. He's outgrown the brand. And that's where you're going to see what the end result of this Trick in Carmelo storyline ends up being, which it pretty much seems like it's going to be Carmelo turning on Trick unless something else happens that pulls the rug out from underneath it. But it gets him to that next level, gets him out of NXT, because he's done in NXT. He is main product brand, and he's going to run with it. He's going to take off. I'd love to see him win the U.S. title. I think it would be the smartest decision they've made, is have him take the U.S. title and run with it. Face whoever he needs to along the way. Whether it's Santos, Ray, whatever it is, it's going to be damn good in any sorts of fashion, although I think it's going to be Santos versus fucking Carmelo at some point. So,
I think it ends up somehow him against Eli Drake, or
Eli Drake. Wow.
Yeah. LA Knight.
Oh, I could see that too. I think LA Knight's going to get that U.S. title shot at some point. There's a lot here going on right now. Carmelo's ready for it. Carmelo's at the end of the game. Carmelo and pretty much Braun Breaker are ready for the big time. And it's time to move them up to the main roster and inject that.
Yeah.
But let me ask you this, though, real quick before we go off that. Does having Randy and Punk kind of make them second guess bringing them up? And I say that not from it's veterans coming back perspective, but it's time on screen perspective. How do we continue to balance these two new stars coming in? And I guess this is the ever-loving question and the ever-loving challenge for WWE and AEW and all the brands. How do you bring up these young guys, balance them with the existing talent, and not lose footing with that? Because Triple H has made it his goal this year to get over the Garganos, get over the Shinsuke's, get over the Bronson Reeds. You start injecting Braun Breakers in that, there needs to be feed for him, and it's going to be at the expense of them.
I think there's releases. I think. I'm not predicting any names or anything, but I think there's some. Listen, Ivar, we talked about a couple weeks ago how we love this match with Bronson. Once he gets done with Bronson, what do we do with Ivar?
Yeah.
I just there's releases, they always happen, and I understand it is what it is, and we're like, oh man, that really sucked, they didn't use them right, whatever, because we see what they can do. But when you have talent, like Carmelo's I'll throw it out, he's a generational talent. He's got everything on the mic. He's a hell of a worker. He's got a hell of a fan base coming up to the main roster. Like, we'll just use him and beat him to a pulp right now.
Right.
That's merch. Good, bad, indifferent, wherever he's going to come up as heel, face, or whatever. That's money in the pockets. Start him with the U.S. See what he does there for a while. Maybe we don't know. Maybe the Miz is getting ready to say, "Hey, it's been a hell of a run."
Yeah,
he can walk, and I never want to see that, by the way. Right. But maybe the Miz says, "I'm going to peace out." There's a roster spot. Miz gets a lot of time. Then people are like, "Oh, maybe we cut Miz's stuff down. Maybe we realize, listen, as much as we love them, DIY was awesome in NXT. Maybe they don't really fit the main roster."
Yeah.
And I've had that feeling now for maybe about 2 weeks. I'm like, maybe they're not main roster people. And it's nothing against either one of them. I love them both. I'd have dinner with them right now. I don't know. That's a spot. A monster is returning. He's cleared to lift and start getting into physical. So Braun is going to be back.
Right.
At some point. Also, we don't know about some contracts. How much longer is Shinsuke around?
Yep.
He's getting, and I'm not saying old, but he's getting old too. I mean, there's, maybe it's it's a new era that we have to look out for, of new era types of things that's going to be in and around in 2024. There's going to be a new era.
There is going to be a new era. There's 2 big contracts coming up in June 2024. I was going to bring it up later, but I might as well bring it up now. You may not think it. Becky and Seth, they're getting up there in age, and you don't think Seth wants to walk that line with Ospreay and Okada, especially if they're in the U.S.? You don't think he wants to be like, that's interesting. I've done a lot in WWE. I've accomplished a lot.
He's been the flag bearer.
He's won everything. He's done everything. I haven't faced Okada. I haven't faced Ospreay, who I had exchanging awards with over how long ago? Omega is sitting there waiting for him. You don't think he's tempted by that? You think he's just going to sign that first contract that's going to walk in there? Becky, his wife, she's got all the talent in the world to face in other places as well. Yes, they've been staples of WWE. Yes, there's new talent coming up that they can work with. That temptation, though, is going to be pretty big. And Tony Khan's got an endless book.
Also, the family aspect of it. Now,
yeah.
I don't have a contract on either one of them, and I'll probably never get it. But WWE is 350 days.
Yeah.
AEW is not as much.
And it seems like they're willing to give you 1 day a week. Just show up in the city you need to be in, and you're good.
You want to do a live event? Cool. We're going to Spokane tomorrow.
Yeah.
All
Come
right.
on up.
Then you have off until next Saturday.
Yeah.
Go to Disney World with your little girls.
Go. Enjoy it. Enjoy your time. They're 37 years old. They're late 30s. The temptation is there to face the other competition, but lighten up the schedule. And if they have good working relationships with some of the people there, it may be too tempting to pass up and not just walk into. Tyler Black and Rebecca Quinn would be welcomed with open arms anywhere they go.
Right. And we're not just saying,
But those are the two.
Maybe Becky wants to go work with what the hell's her name? Fatu. Trinity.
Trinity, yeah. An Impact, yeah.
They did work together. They weren't both as over.
Yeah.
Why not? That's really hey, you're in Atlanta for a weekend. We're recording. We're recording.
Playing hot cross buns for.
Did you have to do a recorder when you were in school?
Yeah, 4th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you buy one or did you?
Yeah, we bought one. I have it in some of my shit somewhere.
You still have your recorder.
It's buried somewhere.
Nonetheless, maybe they just want to go to Impact. Hey, you work the second weekend of the month. We're recording everything for the whole month. We'll see you next month. You want to do an indie show wherever? Do it. It all depends. Like it is family business. When I was at WrestleCade, a couple people I was hanging around with, we were talking about how wrestling is slowly, in good, I think, going back to the family part of it. You have Deanna and Steve Macklin always together. You have Jordan Grace and Jonathan Gresham. They're together. Adam and Britt, the Neon Ninjas of local in Pennsylvania, of Facade and Danny Moe. Lady Frost and her husband, Shane In Your Face, Victor Benjamin, whatever he's going by at the time, but Shane. And I know those are locals, but you see it on the bigger markets as well.
Yeah.
That they want their significant other with them. Listen, I don't know. I always say at some point, I think Ashley crosses the line too.
Yeah.
To go hang out with her dad's there for who knows his contract. He's paying AEW to be there. Let's get on that for a second. But he's paying AEW, but her husband's there. It's still her husband, by the way. This farce of everything before, whatever. Why wouldn't she want to go? Her and Britt, her and Rosa, her and Tony Storm again.
Yeah.
Her and Tony Storm's fucking feud in WWE was atrocious.
What a way to make it up. Just do it somewhere else. 20 times better.
I mean, these are all we just said pandering thoughts essentially 15, 20 minutes ago. It's true though. People want to be. You and Kimberly love spending time together. You're going to go to the Black Monk and have a beer. That's cool. That's your thing on Wednesdays.
Yep.
And then, boom, maybe Seth and Becky want to do that. Maybe Charlotte and Almas want to do it. You know, it's just the way it is.
Yeah. It's one of those things where you're right. Family drives it. I mean, it drives WWE when they move people around. They basically say one person's on SmackDown, then the other person's got to go to SmackDown. And it's just the way everything is built out. Wrestling is a family business in the long and short of it. And that's where a lot of these people are finding their families is within the business itself. So it makes sense to keep them together. And you have these corresponding contracts. I think Becky and Seth saw Charlotte and Andrade go through it where Andrade his contract was coming up anyways, but it was like, okay, well, his is 2 years shorter than whatever Charlotte's was. So now they're separate and they're doing their own thing. Same thing with Malachi and Zelina. I mean, it's just like, I know some of it was releases and that, but at the same time, it's like, okay, I want to get with my partner. I want to be with my partner. I want more time with my partner because that's what you want. You want to spend that time with the person that you love. It's going to happen at some point. These lines are going to be crossed because family is more important to people, but also the temptation of other people on the other side of that line is too great to miss out on.
Yeah. Agreed.
And we didn't have this in the 90s. There wasn't this talent that's out there now. There's more talent out here now than there was in the 90s. And in the 90s, the guys that had success in the business went to WCW and fought each other over and over again. When the new talent in WWE picked up, they started developing new rivalries and giving us The Rock and Stone Cold and things like that. Now, shit, Will Ospreay is amazing. Seth is amazing.
we want that match. Okada is amazing. Danielson's amazing. Well, these guys are amazing, but they're all separated by company lines. My contract's up. They're giving me $3 million more dollars. They're not giving me Shohei Ohtani money, but they're giving me $3 million to go fucking over here. I'm going to do it for $3 million more dollars.
Yeah.
So.
And less time off.
And less
more time off.
More time off. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Shohei Ohtani is ridiculous, by the way. We're pause on wrestling. We'll come right back to it, but dude's getting $70 million to be a DH this fucking year. And we don't even know if he's going to be able to throw again in 2025 because some Tommy John surgeries don't work.
Yeah, sometimes they don't. Motherfucker, if you didn't hear the terms of the contract, 10 years, $700 million.
Doubling the highest of Bryce Harper.
Absolutely fucking ridiculous. I get that they're paying him because he can do both. I don't understand. Not this year. I don't understand.
A lot of it's Bobby Bonilla. He's going to be being paid the rest of his life.
Oh, yeah, 100%. We're going to have a new Bobby Bonilla day. Shohei got to show out. Is he going to be...
Listen, I hope he fails. I hate saying that. I never wanted to say that about anybody in his life, but I hope this cripples the Dodgers for a season or two.
Well, even if he doesn't fail, I think it still cripples them because this is such a grand contract that you're essentially playing two star players' contracts on this. On the one contract, you're failing that you're not going to be bringing in more talent. There's no way they have this endless supply of talent. With, who's it, Mookie Betts, who's on that team, they're paying $1 billion.
Freddie Freeman.
They're paying $1 billion for 2 to 3 players right now.
Yeah.
What? There's no way this doesn't cripple your franchise.
Did you see that Shohei per year makes more than 8 combined teams?
Yeah. I did see that.
Sickening. And people are like, well, that's not. He makes $2.39 a second. $250,000 per game or something like that. We don't have to break it all down, but I know you're looking for it. But
no,
it's
wild.
Nobody. I don't give 2 craps. Nobody's worth that. No. I don't care. I will die on my cross saying that. $70 million a year.
It's absolute
baseball.
It's fucking ridiculous. It's fucking ridiculous. My favorite quote from this whole thing actually came from Dan Mucci. He said it's because he's a Guardians fan. It's almost like the Guardians and Dodgers operate in different worlds. It's 100% true.
It is.
Because the way...
And the Guardians was actually one of the ones on the higher end of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
The fucking Pirates are at $35 million.
The Rays aren't paying... The Rays are in the double digits somewhere, too. I can't think of it off the top of my head. But it's so disparate between teams in MLB. They can't back out and do a salary cap now. There's just no way to do it. So there's always going to be those big market teams that pay out the ass instead of develop the talent. And then there's going to be those bottom market, smaller market teams that just can't do it. They have to train up and eventually let go of their talent once they hit a certain threshold. Yeah. The Rays have been doing it like clockwork since 2008 when they made their first World Series appearance. Longoria got too much to pay. Bye. Chris Archer, we'll send you to the Pirates. You know, it's Blake Snell to the Padres. This guy here, you know, it's just been the same way over and over again.
Yep.
It's just ridiculous. It's fucking asinine.
Shohei will only be a DH this year. So there's no reason for him. He better play 162 games, unless there's another injury involved. He better play 162 games because he doesn't play the outfield anymore. It's pitcher DH.
Yep.
He better crush Aaron Judge, Barry Bonds. he better be MVP in NL next year or overall baseball, or you do not get your return off of listen, they're getting a return off of fans coming and market money and all that. I understand that. But for the player aspect of it, you are World Series or bust with an MVP, Triple Crown winner, like $70 million. That's a fucking lottery that I would retire on. Done. Yeah. I'm done. You're done. People in my family are done with that money. This is a normal year to him now. What the fuck did we do wrong? Now you're making, like, why?
Sorry. Some people are born with it.
Oh, right.
At the end of the day, it's one of those things where you're like, I'd love to be in that position, but at the same time, pressure's on his ass.
Yeah.
Because to your point, I have to do the best I can for the next at least 7 seasons. Your contract's 10.
He's only 26, though. That's the thing. Like,
yeah, I know.
36 isn't old.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, at 7 seasons, I got to be top game for people to think, okay, they got the return on investment.
We'll move on, folks. In these next 10 years, how many World Series for the Dodgers to make this okay? It paid off. And I mean wins, not just appearing. Because they've appeared in fucking 12 in the last 12 years, essentially.
The odds that they do it are slim, but I say 5.
That's where my head was. You don't win 5 in this, that contract failed.
Yeah. You could do all the accolades and everything, but again, to the point we brought up earlier, you backed yourself into a fucking wall paying 3 players $1 billion. So how are you going to develop the talent to at least you'll have it the next 2 to 3 years.
Until Mookie and Freddie leave.
Until Mookie and Freddie leave, because you won't be able to resign them. What happens in 4 and 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? You're the Angels.
Yeah.
Because that's what happened with what's his name? Pujols. Yeah. They signed him to that 10-year deal. It was the largest at the time. Years 1, 2, and 3, great, fantastic. He started going downhill. So did the franchise because they couldn't support it, and they never won a World Series with him. And then they get Mike Trout. They're starting to build it back up, but they got to pay this and you get Shohei, but you got to pay this god awful contract, so you can't bring anybody in. And you traded away all your top talent to get this guy. It's kind of like, fuck, we're fucked. You get fucked after a while, so you have to make the run. It's now or never.
The last thing I have for wrestling. Are you a Lex offender?
That is the dumbest name I have ever heard. Like, why would you come up with that?
Right. Listen, I'm going to say his name. Pillman was like, I don't think that's the right thing. We should probably not be using that.
I want to know, I think the biggest question here is, yes, who came up with that terrible name of Lex Offender? Who's the group that's actually following Lexus King right now? Because he's not that entertaining at this moment.
No. Not at all.
My favorite line, I haven't watched Deadline yet, or whatever the pay-per-view. I think it is Deadline, NXT Deadline. I want to watch it because I saw it was good. I want to know how you get on a pay-per-view and say, oh, I just wanted a PLE match, so I said I did it. Is that what this character is going to be now?
Yep.
Because I might be invested if we're just going to be like, I just want to be here somewhere, so I'm going to say I'm going to do a bunch of shit.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever it takes to get somewhere.
Yeah. It's god-awful. All right. Do you have anything else?
No. I got nothing else.
Okay. We'll take a hot second break. We come back. We'll kind of pull out our crystal ball and look at to 2024 without bold predictions, because those are saved for 2 weeks.
What's going on, you guys? This is the CEO of Shane Taylor Promotions and the baddest of all time, Shane Taylor, and you are listening to the Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast.
Welcome back, brothers and sisters, to be politically correct, to Can Crushers Wrestling Podcast. Mark, we just had that episode about Hulk Hogan's
We gotta bring that up.
We got to bring that up. If you guys haven't listened to it, Hulk Hogan's memory podcast, which was just fantastic. 2 Lies and a Truth. I thought it was very.
It went over well. You don't know the numbers. I was going to wait. I was going to bring it. Went over well. People, listen, we get, and I'm not gloating or anything, we get thousands weekly people listening to us from all over the world, essentially. I kind of looked at it at play, and it made its way around, because when I say we get thousands, it's from week to week, okay? Right. We're not getting them that day or whatever, but by the time we get around, we'll get to our normal count. Yeah. This one was fucking quick. It's still going. So I want to wait until Saturday, we're recording Monday, when it's really been a week, essentially, that it's been out. What are that? Because either people were like, we've heard these, but what are these 2 idiots going to do with it? It's been shared a little bit more. Yeah. So I will say, we had a little break in recording. Bailey, has her personal time she needs to take outside, so we had to take a little break. So I'm scrolling, looking at some stuff, and there's a little bit of a transcript from a Hogan interview with Mr. Santee Zapp. If you haven't seen him, he's Wrestling Reactor out there. 600 pounds at WrestleMania. Say what you just said, because you bumped your mic. Did I? Oh, crap. Can you hear me now? Yeah. All right. So what did you hear up to? Where I was talking about where okay. That's fine. But anyways, so Hogan reaffirmed that Andre was 600 pounds when he slammed him, talked about how he almost lost the match in the first 2 minutes because he couldn't kick out, things of that nature. We're going to test our memory here, because I sure as hell remember this, but let's see if you do. He listed 3 wrestlers that are current now that he'd love to work with and wrestle. Okay. If he had the chance, if he was younger and all that. Roman Reigns. Okay. Seth Rollins. Hey, fair enough. Seth could carry him. And a young upstart named Randy Orton. What were you going to say? He's young? Randy? No. Well, that's not where I'm hanging up. I put the young part in there. Oh. My memory serves me correctly, 17 years ago, they faced at SummerSlam. Yeah. Hogan got RKO'd on a car before that. You don't remember that? Apparently he doesn't, because he said he'd love to work with Randy Orton sometime and wrestle him. Never worked with him, huh? Never worked with him. Isn't that on it used to be on a little network called the WWE Network. Yeah, I think now it's on a Peacock or some sort of bird, like a little app. It's just a hummingbird? Hummingbird? Yeah. Maybe. Yeah, something like that. But, yeah. Idiot. I think his memory is just not as good as it used to be, and it's probably from in-ring performances. Let's be honest. That stuff does wear on you. Right. So, I think that's what's playing with it a little bit. But unbelievable. Maybe he means new Randy. Like 2009 yesterday, Randy? 2009 Randy? A dick. The biggest villain maybe in the history of WWE and all sports entertainment. Right. I could see that one. He wanted to hang out with Riddle Randy. Probably Riddle Randy or something like that. By the way, he's one of the other ones that I thought of during the break that he's been, I don't want to say he's been booked, but he's been put announcement that he's going to be everywhere. I just feel like he's blackballed from the major organizations. Probably. So. Probably. All right. 2024. This is a crapshoot, folks, because we really didn't talk about anything. Not like the podcast has been, but kind of not like it is every week. Yeah. just kind of a forecast of what we think. Do you want to break it down by company? Do you want to bring it by a wrestler? Or do you want to just throw shit against the wall and see how it goes?
Yeah, you want to throw shit against the wall? Because I have broad stuff. I could do wrestler by wrestler if I need to. You have nothing?
Nope.
I think
it would all come off the top of my head.
That's fair. I mean, the one thing that came to my mind, and I could have brought up in our last segment, but I figured I'll throw it into this one, is everybody that's panicking or causing a big issue with crowd sizes or people not being around and all that, you're overreacting right now. And I think 2024 it's going to reaffirm that wrestling is going to ebb and flow. And it may be down in attendance now, but I think for AEW and I think for WWE, it's going to start to go right back up. AEW right now is in more of a state of, we're getting our new talent established. We had a little bit of a fallout with, well, not a little bit, but a fallout with CM Punk, who's a major star in our industry. But now we're starting to top back off. We're putting over Swerves. We're putting over MJFs. Adam Cole's still young. We're getting Will Ospreay. We're coming back up in terms of people putting butts in seats. Because that seems to be the hot topic now for everybody on the internet is, oh, you don't have that many asses in seats for your shows. That's not necessarily a leading indicator that the product's dying or anything like that.
You read what I read, because this is where I'm going to, I'll stir the pot with it then. Go ahead.
For it. Well, I was just going to finish off and say, it's coming back to the business just has those ups and downs, and now that they've established those stars and have those bigger stars coming in, it's going to even back out, and there's going to be a shit ton of people in the stands to prove, I guess, people wrong, because you don't really need to prove anybody wrong, but go with what you were going to say.
In the 80s, essentially, because that's roughly when Ricky Morton said putting asses in seats. Ticket sales, and again, you listen to anybody that's been on Spotlight, the Killer Bees, Barry Horowitz, anybody like that from, past. Yes, the house drew the money for the shows that paid the wrestlers, yada, yada, yada. It could have been the 7 of us in Erie, and AEW was still making, I'm throwing a number out, $100,000 for that Collision and ROH taping.
Yeah.
And they could have performed just for the 7 of us and been fine, because they get that money from the TV company. They're under the same spectrum of the 4 major sports, essentially. Right. The ticket sales for the Erie Insurance Arena, or whatever the hell it's called, do take care of some of the travel expenses, it lightens the load so there's more profit.
Yeah.
But the profit's already built in on the contract that they're going to make money for that year because they're on TV 52 times a week, times 2, times 3 possibly here in the near future.
Right.
And or a streaming deal that's right around the corner. That's the door knocking that they're going to open up shortly. So it doesn't matter how many people are in the crowd.
Yeah.
As we spoke about at the beginning of the show, the ROH tapings aren't for the crowd.
No.
Collision and Dynamite are, for sure. That's when you want them jacked and this, that, and the other thing. Why do you think they record the ROH things? Because it's not. It's making money, but it doesn't need to make money. Because it's their developmental, as we talked about. So the whole, hey, Erie only had, and it was kind of like that, we'll release it now, there was one side that didn't have many people on it.
Yeah.
Our side.
Yeah.
It was actually just the bottom ball and ringside. The upper deck didn't have anybody the whole way around.
Yeah.
They don't need that.
No, and there's a reason that they only purposely sold 2,900 tickets. They only put 2,900 out for distribution and selling. And I think they sold all but 500 when we looked Saturday morning beforehand.
Wow.
So AEW is basically saying, well, to make the profit margin we want, we just need 2,900 tickets. Or we just need 2,400 or something like that. So they sat there and said, okay, block off the rest. If we need to open them up, we can, but let's see what we can get. they're willingly making these decisions to say, block off 5 sections because we don't need them, because we don't need the profit margin. We already have it built into it. And Erie's a smaller arena. They're going to take everything they can get, and they're going to probably need to be paid less than, say, a PN or a PPG. I was trying to think of the name, or the Q, whatever Rocket Mortgage or whatever it's called now in Cleveland.
Definitely Boston Garden or anything like that.
Yeah, exactly. Or even the Peterson Center, University of Pitt. Erie's a smaller market. It's a smaller venue. Pay less money, get a bigger profit margin out of it.
Same TV deal. Doesn't matter if it's in Ridgeway, Erie, or Vegas, Kahonda. Not that half the people listening to this will ever know, more than half, will know that where that's at.
More than half the hosts on this thing don't even know where that's at.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I was like,
it's a small town in between here and St. Mary's. You blink.
Never heard of it.
Right.
Really? Oh, okay.
Ethan's best friend lives there.
Fair enough.
And there's nothing. It's just houses. There's nothing.
Just a little,
drive
like
through there.
Cusawago over in Crawford County. Yeah, it's BFE.
But it doesn't matter because the TV deal covers it. So don't look in 2024 or starting now. Don't look at, hey, this audience only had da-da-da-da-da, because I'll tell you, it is a new era that indie shows, if they sell, say, 100 tickets, maybe they could have put 1,400 people in a gymnasium in wherever. But they say, hey, we're going to shoot for 100 to see what happens. If we have to open it up and turn more away, we're making a profit. That's number one. Maybe having those other seats opened cost more because now you're paying, AEW has to pay. I understand. I don't know how all works, but essentially they open that upper deck in Erie. You put 20 people up there that make a mess for 500 people. Yep. The janitor has to go up and clean that.
Yep.
AEW says shut it down. We don't want that extra cost added on to Erie Insurance Arena or whatever the hell it's called. They're making it. They're a TV show. Just like you said, the Housewives of Atlanta or whatever, any reality show, Big Brother, anything like that. They're making the money. They want the fans there. I'll put it out. They want the fans. It adds to the allure of everything.
Yes.
They don't need them there, though. It offsets stuff. Wrestling nowadays, again, I will go back to the 80s, was studio, was live events. We get those. We do get those. We understand. Wrestling plays more for TV, pay-per-views, premium live events. I went to wrestling in the 90s before in State College. They recorded Sunday Night Heat. And this is where I started to kind of put 2 and 2 together. Owen Hart wrestled on Sunday Night Heat.
Mm-hmm.
They recorded that before Raw. Everybody saw that Owen Hart wrestled, I don't know, Outback Jack or whoever the hell it was. Come to Raw, literally 20 minutes later, they announced Owen wasn't there, he's stuck in Calgary.
Yeah.
Guess what? The 20,000 people there were like, we just fucking saw him. What are you talking about? We weren't playing for you. We're playing for the million of people watching at home on TV. You're already here. You're not going to leave. Any money you now spend at this arena isn't ours. It's going to, unless you're buying our merch, it's going to Erie Insurance. It's going to PPG. Wrestling is a TV product before it's a live event product. Hate me for saying that. Mark 20 years ago would have fought you and said, no, they care about the people in-house. They do to an extent. Indie shows do this, that, and the other thing. But, I mean, we're talking the big ones, right? AEW, WWE, Impact. They don't care that you're there. You bought a ticket.
They care to the point that you are great backing vocals, like you said. You're there to provide acoustics.
I'm not putting hate on them.
No. I know what you mean. And I'm actually going to add on to this because I agree with you. People in those shows are there for acoustics at the big levels, at even the TNAs, even the NWAs. That's why you saw WCW was running back in the day, Universal Studios, or Saturday TNA was doing the same thing. For free tickets, you got into the butts in the seats, but it's a sound stage. It's there to amplify the sound, but it was a stage. The ring was the center of it, and you were watching the performers in it. It's like watching a play on TV. You're watching the performers in it. That's why the hard cam is so important to WWE, to AEW, to Impact, to NWA. It's a stage performance in front of a live audience. It's like recording a television sitcom in front of a live studio audience. They just happen to take it on tour like it's a circus. Lack of better terms, but it is. You're setting up for the circus. You put the performers in the middle of the ring. Everybody's watching that circus, but it's a televised circus for people to watch at home. And we love it.
Their money from city to city already. Exactly.
The ticket sales were what the company invested in the city. It's what the money they were getting out of the city. They're getting merch sales as well, a smaller percentage of the cut. Once you're inside that building, everything's going to the house. It's going to that building itself. That's it. That's basically the long and short of it. So you're not wrong in saying it. I would love to say kayfabe's still alive, but it just can't be when you're talking about it's really a big production company moving a live TV show week to week.
Studio audience, a different studio audience every night.
Every week. Yeah.
Yeah. So when you see these pictures of people taking pictures of as soon as they get there, look, it's just me and my friends. One, there's assholes like that out there.
Yeah.
So this all started that it's an ebb and flow. Essentially, This is what this topic is. It's an ebb and flow. And you're right. I think the crowds will get bigger, and it'll be fine. It really will. But don't ever think attendance numbers, and I'm speaking of the big ones, really mean a damn thing. Because if they have a TV contract, you're relieving gas money. You're relieving whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The profit's already been made from TNT, TBS, CW, USA, Fox, or whatever.
Yeah.
Or they wouldn't be on there.
Exactly. I mean, you don't get $1 billion and expect to say, oh, yeah, I need to go to do house shows and everything to make my money. That's not it anymore. And that's why WWE's moving away from house shows. Because it's like, well, we don't need to go 20 times a week to make our money back. Because we're getting $1 billion. Well, we got $1 billion from Fox, so we're okay. And now we have a parent company who's going to share the wealth among its brands.
For last time on this one, for a year, you don't think they didn't make money from the Megatron or Daly's Place?
Oh,
they weren't selling tickets to be on the Megatron or at Daly's Place.
They didn't need to sell tickets at Daly's Place. It was a free rental.
Yeah. They made money, though, didn't they?
No, they made hand over fist. And that money went right back into their own wallets because the building is owned by... It's theirs. It's owned by Tony Khan's father, so split the profits between the two companies, run it for a year and a half.
There you go.
Yep.
Your next topic. I like this.
Well, did you have one?
Not at the top of my head right now. I took everything out right there that I had to think of one because that was a great topic.
I thought so because I'm like, we needed to address it. But from that regard, okay, we talked about the crowds. We talked about where the business is going. Individual talent-wise, we kind of hinted at it earlier. Is 2024 gearing up to be a year of dream matches for us, or are we getting ourselves too far ahead down the line? Because we speculated, I threw it out there and stirred the pot with Becky and Seth. Not realistic that they could leave the WWE, but at the same time,
It's a possibility.
It's a possibility. And with Okada and Ospreay already coming to AEW, the possibilities are endless within that company alone. Is it time to recognize we could have a lot more dream matches in 2024 occur?
I'll spin it this way. Dream matches is a great
term.
No, it's a great term. But I think there needs to be a few builds here or there. I mean, we're going to stick and stay with Becky and Seth. I think it's like June. Is that what we're looking at?
June is
July.
right now the reported date, June 2024.
Yeah, somewhere around that. So let's just say July, okay?
Yeah.
Because then because they'll work their contract. They're not getting released. So they have to wait 90 days. So we're not waiting until November. So say July. I think there's a lot more surprises in 2024 due to the fact that it's really Trips' first year of being unleashed. He had Dad with him for most of this year until the buyout was official, and then Vince is down to like 4.5%, whatever the fuck percentage it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think Trips sees that maybe there's people are the casual fan. I'll put it this way. The casual fan now understands, oh shit, there is New Japan. There is Stardom for the girls, and there's Shine, and there's stuff like that. That maybe 2024 is going to be for the hardcore fan to get the casual fans more hardcore across the board. Listen, AEW does it now all the time.
Yeah.
We've talked about some of the hidden door people that were like, shit, I wish I would have watched more of this, watched more of that. But I think the Trips does see, and it is as far behind as AEW is, and I'm never going to say they're going to, at this point, are overtaking WWE, because it's years and decades still.
Mm-hmm.
But Tripp sees that it's working. Oh, so if I go out and I get, and I'll throw Tessa, because she's always on the top of my mind. She's a name.
Yeah.
I'll bring this person in. You know, there's people that's worked in WWE that's had head issues, and I mean by attitudes or anything like that. We can work with them. I think Tripp sees that, and he says, all right, this is the year that I'm going to pull some triggers and grab some people that maybe the casual fan doesn't know about. We need to turn some of these casual fans into, let's watch the product across the board, because watching the product across the board helps all of wrestling.
Right.
If Triple H goes and gets Moose, so to speak, and I know he just resigned, but again, people popping in and out of my head, goes gets Moose from TNA now, which is not Impact as of next week or whatever.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, yeah, I was flipping on Access, and then I saw this guy. Now he's going to run amok, and maybe he's going to take on Braun Strowman or something like that. I think we see more of that, essentially meaning yes to your dream matches, but yes, on the same lines. We just see more of that. And to stay with Becky and Seth and maybe Zelina and Malachi, I think you're going to see more of that I hinted on, that we just want this.
Yeah.
Maybe that means WWE lightens up. And I think that would benefit WWE more. And I know I've just taken this across the board, so you can check in on anything you want to in a second. I think it lightens up. Because live events, what we just talked about, yes, they are money, but okay, whatever. They're not needed. They're just extra money. Will it benefit mental, physical, and every other type of health out there for my workers to put on better premium live events and TV shows where we actually get billions of dollars compared to hundreds of thousands?
Yeah. No,
that all sounds like I will take me and you will take hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
But going from Chicago to, I don't know, somewhere in Tennessee, and I'm not knocking anywhere. By the way, God bless Tennessee for what they're dealing with right now. But some little place in Tennessee from Chicago, we just drove 16 hours for 1,000 people to make $100,000, when if you just would have drove to Peoria, you could have made that same money.
Yeah.
We just need to lighten up a little bit.
Yeah. No, that's 100% accurate. I mean, off of those points, you think about it, the light and upload is going to be key, I think, in 2024. You run a Friday, Saturday, Monday show, or a Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday show, you're done. And it's only your major players and whatnot. Get off the road. You don't need to be out there 5 days a week, really jeopardizing your talent. I think from the long and short of it, when you look at the dream matches or things of that nature, it's going to be, to your point, we're going to start picking talent from different organizations where it's dream matches. You don't realize it's dream matches yet. I'm going to butcher her name, but Julia, or whatever her name is in Japan, her contract's coming up. Dream matches galore. She's one of the top talents out there in and around. That comes up. Everybody under the sun's trying to buy her out. Okada's contract's coming up. WWE is going to make a strong pass at him. AEW is going to make the strong pass at him. It was probably the same thing with Ospreay. It's bringing in the top talent more than just dream matches. We're just fans. We get the benefit from it. To the TV aspect of it is, you're absolutely right. House shows are becoming irrelevant for the talent, besides just creating memories for younger fans, because that's basically what the house shows are going to become.
Because they break character in them all the time, and I'm not being a dick about it.
Exactly. They break character in them, and it entices fans to engage more, and they become more in love with it because they can connect with it better, and they see that people are having more fun with it. So when you talk about you and I, when we went to house shows when we were younger and all that, I remember the first one I remember personally is when The Undertaker came out, scared me shitless, right? Because the gong hit, it was ominous, the 6'10" mythical beast was walking down the aisleway. It was an experience, and it entrapped me in its beauty and what it was. So I love that, and I want more of it. Those house shows really help create those memories. But at the same time, you have to look at player talent health, what their status is in their relationships, and give them the opportunity to rest up in between shows and then bring them out for the TV tapings where it's more eyes on it because everybody across the country can watch it instead of just one localized venue at that regard. But we all benefit from it in the long haul because A, the top talent that keeps coming in, it's creating dream matches. Or they're bringing them in and it's bringing us to bring eyes to those shows or those house shows or wherever they end up being at. It's creating a beautiful dynamic of you don't know who's showing up where and when at this point. And that's the pot being stirred right now. I'm not going to belabor all of the other points that you made because I think you're right on point with everything you said. The last thing I'll say is I'll bring it back to Beth and Becky.
Who the hell did you have a stroke?
Yeah. Seth and Becky. Wow. Guys. Oof. Wouldn't it be better? Wouldn't it be just fantastic? Because I'm going to fantasy book it right now. Contract comes up June 15th. Forbidden Door 3, just Seth and Becky walk right through the door and just stand there at the top of the stage to close out the fucking pay-per-view.
Call out Adam and Britt.
Call out Adam and Britt. Call out anybody you want. Whoever's in the middle of the ring. Will Ospreay standing in the middle of the ring. Just
goosebumps.
And there's fucking Seth. Tyler Black's hanging right there by the entrance ramp. Let's go. Arlen Wembley's going to have a whole different feeling if that walks through. But,
right? Yeah. Long-term booking for here. To piggyback that kind of still in the memories and talking about like WWE when they do breaking character, that this is the time that they get to meet a Liv Morgan and she does her she's got two different things going on. She's got a house show Liv, and then she's got TV Liv. If you've ever you've watched Liv's whatever, she does a ton of different things at house shows that she doesn't do on TV. That's cool and all, but I will always push you to this. Then, if you're gonna go spend, I don't know, house shows you still spend $100 to go at.
Yeah,
roughly,
easily. Yeah,
especially like a family of four or something. Maybe this is the year that people look more into indies. And one more time, make it a new era in your life that say, hey, this indie promotion popped up and I've heard on Can Crushers that, it's the stars of tomorrow. And, go meet them when they're 18, 19, 20. They didn't get that look yet because a seminar from Shane Douglas or QT Marshall or somebody like that hasn't come to have eyes that work with WWE, AEW, so on down the line that gets them into that pipeline. Go watch indies. If you've never been to an indie show, I don't care if you're in Alaska, Hawaii, Cuba, wherever an indie show is, I think that if you've never been to one, go to one this year, okay? And I'll throw it out there, and I will get shit for this from everybody that comes on the show, on a spotlight, that listens, and I know 3 people are going to yell at me right off the bat, but I don't care. Yes, it's not as polished as what you see on TV, but give them their chances. Watch it. There's a story in each match. If you're going into a promotion that's already been established, talk to some fans, get caught up. If you're an introvert like some of my friends and me and sometimes and everything like that, just enjoy it. Understand, okay, who this person is. Okay, why did they do this or that, and everything. And then, at intermission, you get to meet them without paying anything extra. Unless you want to buy a merch or an 8x10 or something like that. You don't have to pay to go backstage and stand in the line to meet, and then we love her, Bailey, for $30 to give her a high five and get your ass out of the ring, and you get nothing. You'll get a story from Donnie Bambino, or you'll get a story from Trevor Terry, or you'll get a story from Andrew Palace or Katie Arquette or anybody like that. They'll give you that time because they were in your shoes. They know that you love wrestling. Ask them questions. Talk to them about it. I just think 2024, as many indie places we have across America, they still don't get looked at enough because it doesn't have the Seths, the Beckys, the Takers, or anything like that. Give them that chance, and you could fall in love with indies more than you love your bigs because you see, I'll always put this to college football prior to NIL deals.
Yeah.
They were busting their asses at Oregon, Alabama, Pitt to get those monies in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's what the indies do. They really do work hot dog and a handshake sometime. Or, $20 here, $20 there just to get them back and forth. And we're talking 6-7 hours sometimes. Give indie wrestling a chance in 2024 because 5 years, because Rome wasn't built in a day, you could see them and you're like, oh shit, I remember seeing Bob Smith's first match. Here he comes again. Bob Smith coming back around at XYZ or whatever. Again, I'm not going to name a company yet, but
Yeah. No, that's 100% accurate. Because I think when you think about it, you're starting to, WWE is doing it right with when they bring in the talent into NXT, they say, oh, here's the new batch of trainees coming into our company. You start seeing this list of people and you're like, Maddie Rakowski, yeah. You're starting to see these lists of people and it's like, where did they come from? How do I know them? Why should I know them? Then you start doing research and they're like, oh, wait a minute, this person's usually at a show in my area. maybe let me pick up and go see a Rampage that's down the street, or, you know, some other promotions and that. Just go and watch it for the day. You may not talk to anybody, but you're watching what's going on in the ring. You're seeing the action, and you're trying to pick up, and you're like, oh my God, okay, this is kind of cool to see this. And you just start going out of habit. Or maybe you're just a drunken idiot and you go, oh, there's a wrestling show down the block. Maybe I'll go. And then one of your friends is like, holy shit, this is not bad. I kind of like this. And they keep going. It's how you find the next level talent before it becomes that next level, that next top talent in the industry. It's where Mark can get stories about Wardlow, and then Wardlow picks him out of a line and starts talking to him again because he's like, I remember you, and goes off of there. It's where Mark can get Britt Baker to take a picture with him and Ethan from 7 years ago, and now it's a whole, you're in Pittsburgh, the love's there, right? It's growing it. It's growing that fandom, and it's growing that special atmosphere with it. We were talking about house shows going away. They're going away, but the indies aren't. And those smaller promotions are still going to be out there busting their ass, doing what they need to do to make it, or at least make it entertaining as possible for the fans that are coming in attendance. Because maybe they've reached a point in their career where they're like, WWE may not be possible, but I can bring a smile to Billy Bob's face over here. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you take it in, you accept it, and you just go, man, I just want to learn more. I just want to see more and do more.
You're not going to have, and I'll throw her out there, you're not going to have Thea Hale, air quotes, Nikita Knight, have her first ever match on AEW Dark against Thunder Rosa, come back to where she trained, have 2 matches at Rise and IWC in Pittsburgh, and then, you're signed the next day to the PC, and now you're Thea Hale.
Yeah.
That story is not going to be out there a lot. Right. It does happen, but it's not going to be out there. You're going to see the Bob Smiths week in and week out. You're going to see them grow. You're going to see them, Bob Smith gets to go to Georgia. You know, we're saying Pennsylvania right now. Bob Smith wrestles out of Pennsylvania. Bob Smith got contracted to go to Georgia for Peachtree Wrestling. That's really cool. I know Bob Smith. Oh, shit, Bob Smith is now, because you're following him on Instagram, and he's been on the spotlight, so you know everything about Bob Smith. Now he's getting to wrestle over at Santino Brothers. Oh, shit, something's really going on with Bob Smith. And he might be the biggest asshole character-wise, but you know who Bob Smith is.
Yep.
Bob Smith goes missing for 6 months, but that's because he got signed on the PC.
Yeah.
Now Bob Smith shows up under Smith Bob because, God for fuck, he couldn't keep the same name in the WWE world.
Yeah.
He's now on NXT. You grow with them. Listen, Jenks knows this. I have pictures all over the studio of people, the ones mostly behind me, the whole IWC wall, have had I saw their first matches. I'll call them tonight and say, remember your first match? And I'm like, listen, one of Wardlow's first matches, he came out, grabbed the top rope, and fucking fell off. Yeah. He'll tell you that it was not his best moment. It wasn't his fault. It was probably ring crew's fault, whatever. But he wrestled a match with 2 ring ropes. It's a story he has. You were there. Now I'm like, remember Wardlow ripped the ring apart at Royal Valley? Yeah, oh my God. Now he's beating the shit out of Samoa Joe, who I loved when I was a child, who Wardlow looked up to getting into wrestling. You know, you get these stories. I'm just telling you that wrestling's more than entertainment.
Yeah.
It can be very personable if you let it, and you get to know the indie stars first. They don't forget you. You might be on the back, they'll see a ton of people. You might be on the back burner, but if you share a story with them, a la Chelsea Green, she wasn't big in IWC. She grabbed the pretzel, she threw it at Britt's mom when she was having a match. Chelsea grew. Look at what Chelsea's doing now. A couple years ago, I tell her the story. She's like, fuck, I didn't think anybody would ever remember that.
Yeah.
Now she knows. Now Matt Cardona's calling me an asshole on his show because I have his wife's lips on my arm. But I'm just saying, that's what I see in 2024. I really see, and we'll do one more if you got one more. I didn't have any.
I don't have any more after this one,
okay,
so
be good.
Because
But do you see that resurgence or the growth of indie wrestling and make it a new era in your life to really say, all right, I'm going to give this a shot and I'm going to follow this new wrestler because, listen, at indie shows we announce, hey, this is their first ever match. So, you know, they're making their debut here at boom. Like them, love them, hate them, whatever their character is, but knew you saw something history in the making.
yeah,
Because you don't know what they're going to be doing in 5 years. That's what 2024 should be about, that you pick somebody that you've never seen before and just run with it.
yeah.
See what they do. Do they turn out to be a huge star? Will they go across seas? Listen, one more. Megan Bain, OVW star, just young into the business. When we were down in OVW in Kentucky, won her first title at OVW, did some darks, did some elevations, did this, did that. She's running Stardom now. Megalosaurus
Yeah.
was on AEW. I think there's a tie-in that you will see her back in the States this year. She's been on a Spotlight too, by the way, so go back and listen to those a couple years ago. But
Shameless plug.
yeah, but that's what it should be about. It really my point was, some Bob Smiths will stick and stay because they're weekenders, they're once a monthers or whatever. But there are Thea Hales, there's Britt Bakers, there's Wardlows, there's Chelsea Greens, there's so many others that you're like, wow, I never thought I would have saw a Britt Baker come out of, I don't know, some little small town in Arkansas.
Yeah.
And I'm not picking that, but it's in my head right now.
No, it's fair.
It happens. And that's how you fall in love with wrestling. And then you follow their career forever because you were there. Make 2024 a new era.
Paint the new era.
Paint the new era. That's why we named it this. Yes.
Yeah. That was beautiful. I gotta leave it there. But you're absolutely right. You hit the nail on the head, so.
And most of that's towards you. And I don't mean to be a dick. We're getting you to a revenge. We're getting you to an Erie All-Star show or something like that because of that.
No, that's fair.
Or somewhere else.
Yeah.
We'll stay in Pennsylvania for a while.
We'll see what happens.
But yeah. Jenks is going to start a new era.
I gotta start a new era. I gotta start new. Start fresh. Get it going. By the way, not to go off topic, you got Christmas lights going on out there? Outside your house?
I don't know.
There's fucking just lights going everywhere for the past 20 minutes.
That's because I live on the main drag of Ridgeway.
I understand that, but it's never done that before. Like, it's never been that
night. Busy.
I'll be active on Friday.
It's also a lot darker. You can probably see them since I'm still. Listen, a light bulb went out in the studio, and I could just go around the corner and get another one. Jenks has barely seen me tonight.
Yeah, he's kind of in the shadows right now. It's like it's almost like I'm actually in the studio with my lighting that I have going on at my house.
Really, you're lighting my studio.
My lighting's fine tonight. I don't look like a pale ass ghost Seamus walking through here recording or anything like that. But
all right, one that I'll throw out there, and we'll just have to do names. Any retirements you see, but without Sting?
Sting.
No. Do you see any retirements coming this year?
I'm not going to be a smart ass and say Daniel Bryan either, or Bryan Danielson. I think Edge is coming to the end of his rope. I think I don't know if it's a bold prediction, maybe it will be, but when you look at it, his main goal coming back to AEW was Christian. It was working with Jay. I just don't see that there's anything after that. Like, I don't see him doing one off with Jericho. Maybe he does a match with Omega and that, but I just don't see it. I think the whole swan song was he wanted to be one last time with Jay and have something with Jay. So I think Adam Copeland's going to be a key retirement coming forward. It's not Mox, because Mox is planning on wrestling until he can anymore, so.
Right. Still have to drag him out.
Yeah.
I do have one. It's not a retirement, but it's 4 times a year, and it's Roman Reigns.
Oh, yeah. I believe that. I think WrestleMania, SummerSlam, Rumble.
And then
maybe one in between. Yeah.
Crown Jewel.
Yeah. 5 times. We'll throw him at the other Saudi show, too.
Yeah. Roman will be... This isn't even bold. I don't even think this is bold. I think this is going to wrap it all up. Roman's going to be the Undertaker of WWE.
Yeah, I would agree. I think Roman's is health related in a way where you don't go through a lot of that stuff that he's gone through in his life and come out of it on the other side and be able to wrestle till you're 45, 50 years old. There's just no way. I think it's out of necessity, and that's fine because Roman is a special attraction and has become and earned the special attraction mark. So I could see Roman being that way too.
Yep. Definitely. I think Roman at Mania, no Roman till SummerSlam. Bookmark that.
Bookmarked.
Took a little bit, but it's bookmarked.
I had to find the place and then place the bookmark and then shut the book.
Right, you had to flip it to April.
I had to flip it. We'll flip it from April to August. It takes a while to get between those 2 A's.
There could be hundreds of pages.
It could be. It's all about how the story's written.
Next week we'll be back. Normal show, breaking down shows. This was fun doing kind of a state of a union, no fucking holds barred type of podcast. But don't forget, super excited next week. We will announce all the Crushie categories. We want to get you guys' thoughts. Give us your Woman of the Year, Man of the Year, Tag Team of the Year, all that by calling it. And we'll remind you of all this next week. Make sure make it more interactive so we can either make fun of you, agree with you, all of that cool stuff. However you want to do it. I'm not going to say you only can do it by phone this year. They're fun by phone. Yeah. But if you want to send them in, cool. That's fine and dandy. So yeah, that's going to be the major announcement next week. The following week is the Crushies. So we'll kind of touch on wrestling and then just Crushies the rest of the way.
We're going to crush it.
We are going to crush it. That's it. I love you.
I love you too.
Remember, just because you're trash doesn't mean you can't do great things.
It's garbage can, not a garbage cannot. Make sure you tell your loved ones that you love them.
Because you never know.
Boop, boop.